You're listening to the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast.
And here we go. We are back. Leatherhead Nation, welcome back to the Gettin' Salty Experience podcast. It's the only one in the whole wide world that brings that firehouse kitchen table right to you. And we got some great stories for you tonight. We have the goat, one of the goats.
We should be farmers with all the goats we're getting on this fucking,
Pete, you got to get it. Look at Ruffy. Wow, Ruffy.
I'm writing it down. Goat sound effect.
This is the best podcast for goats in the whole wide world. I'm just saying that because we got them. We keep
not bulls.
To you.
We got no bull.
There's
no bull here.
Hey,
no BS here. But great fire stories, great tips, great perspective, and always. It is the table with the weight of 1,000 stories, and we're bringing it right to you. We apologize. We had a little mishap. Let's call it a mishap last night, right, Pete?
It wasn't really. It wasn't a mishap. My job, just to tell everyone, my job went long yesterday. Right. It was supposed to be a 4 p.m. wrap, which would have given me plenty of time to get home. But I was leaving Harlem at 6 p.m. So
you were a little long on the tooth last night. Let's say a little bit.
Yep, very long
on the tooth.
Yeah, it was a rough day, man. So sorry about that to everybody.
And the chief was very accommodating.
He was
really.
Holy smokes! Hey, but I was ready to do the show live from the truck.
Pete wanted to do it from the car, which would have been no bueno. No,
I wanted.
Listen. I appreciate your enthusiasm, Pete. And
I just wanted to make sure I was freaked out about it all day.
But with a guest like this, we don't do no half-ass. No half-ass stuff.
I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And listen, this is what I'm going to tell you guys. Pull up your drink with all the crazy crap that's going on in the world tonight. Pull up your drink. Let's immerse ourselves in old FDNY history and fire stories and forget about the nonsense that's going on.
And I just want to say this.
What?
In terms of history, I've read some timelines of people's careers before, but never one that made my butthole pucker. And I puckered. I read through this thoroughly in the pre-show. I was like,
well, quite frankly, you see some fire coming out 8 doors down, your asshole puckers. So you and I, we're going to take that with a grain of salt.
Fire.
Yeah. Listen, this is the only other thing. Listen, if you think you're missing something tonight with the State of the Union, I'm going to give you the State of the Union right now. The country's a fucking mess. All right, that's all you got to know right now. Say your prayers, though. Wait a minute. Cooler heads prevail. I don't need some stuttering, puttering idiot to tell me what the state of the country is. It's a mess right now, but we are heading in that direction. Say prayers that cooler heads prevail and that the United States of America stays the United States of America, and we are the best country in the history of this world.
Yeah, that's a fact, Jack.
We
say that with tongue in cheek when we describe our show, the greatest show of all time or whatever, but it's not tongue in cheek when we're talking about this country. No. We are not an experiment. We are the greatest country on the planet, period.
We are the first country. Listen to this. We are the first country in the history of the world to have a government that is based on what the government of the people, for the people, by the people. Every other government in the history of this world has been either, a monarchy or a top down. This is the first. It was an experimental government, and is the best government in the whole wide history of the world. That's all I'm saying about politics. Then I'm done. Bam. All right. Shabam.
All right.
What else do we got, Pete? You want to start it off?
Well, I think what we do, because we know we have a very special Pledge of Allegiance coming tonight.
Yep.
But we do have a new sponsor tonight.
Oh, I'm all excited.
Woo! So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention because these folks pay us to get your attention. That is, and tonight I bring you New Jersey Fire. Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, The company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey Fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Great production. Great. That voiceover sounds like the Lucky Strike guy. Get over that.
I love it when a plan comes together.
After you fill up your Scott bottle, you light up a Lucky.
How about the guy with the pipe, the guy from Scott? He's been around since 1930. All right. Listen, we're wasting time because we got a ton of fire stories.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit to get through.
So let's bring in our guest. He is the G-O to the A to the T. Let's bring him in. Ruffy, you introduce the guy. Dude.
What the hell's his name again? I don't really
know. That guy. All right,
Chief
John Norman. Here he is.
Yes.
We got you here, Chief. We did it.
Finally.
We finally got it. We did it. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. The
squad.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. But we have a very special little treat for you guys tonight. You know we're very patriotic here, but the Chief insisted, or asked us basically, and if he could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, in which we said, dude, we would be, well, I didn't say dude. I said, Chief, we would be honored.
All right, Chief, I'm going to put you in the, here we go. And take it away, Chief.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice. Excellent.
Nice. That guy knows how to do it, how to start it off with a bang.
He does. He starts it off with a bang. But before we even start it off with a bang, Pete, we got to get to the word of the day, I think.
Ooh, this one for all the Alkies in our audience, and I know there are many.
Including me. Yep.
This is going to be an interesting one. I hope we make it through this show tonight. And the word of the day is giant.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, we're all dead. You might have made the word of the day fire, Kev.
Yeah, listen to me. Okay, so guys, Pete, put up the book because the Chief sent me this book. I don't want to brag, but I got mine autographed. Just saying. Okay, so I've read this book 2.5 times, almost 3 times, and it is an amazing read. It's funny. If you like fire stories from the 70s, the 80s, right up until, there's a lot on the Trade Center as well, which things, Chief, that I read, I didn't even know. And I was there too. And excellent read, Pete. Where do we find this? We find this on Amazon.
And Fire Engineering, I believe, as well, Chief.
Yeah, Fire Engineering books and videos.
Yes, this is Working with Giants, Pete.
Working with Giants. You guys see it clicking along
Pete,
on
it's Working with Giants.
Oh, see, I don't know if this is such a good idea. I'm gonna kind of keep it at my own discretion tonight, guys. I'm not pulling the trigger every time someone says.
Yeah, Pete, you hit it whenever you want, Pete.
All right,
we'll get good and loaded on here.
Oh my
Excellent.
God! Oh
yes.
my God!
Yes.
All
So,
right.
all right. So let's dive into your early life, Chief. I know a little bit about it because I read the book, but tell us how your dad, Butch, got you involved in the fire service, because he had, 60 some odd years in the fire service himself?
Yeah, he spent over 60 years with the Inwood Fire Department where we grew up. So that's what got me started. He was a dispatcher. He was a past chief, but then on weekends he was a dispatcher. And we used to live right around the corner from the firehouse. So my brother Warren and I would take dinner over to him, and we'd get to play on the fire trucks while he was eating dinner, and then we'd wait for the empty plate to bring it home. So that was our excuse. So I grew up in a firehouse. It was a very big part of our life. He was just very active the entire time. Myself, I had 3 brothers that were in the same fire department. We made up first 2 engine crew among ourselves there. So
Nice.
it was a big part of our life.
Yeah. So let's talk about your first job that you saw. Wasn't he watching you one night and and he threw you on the rig and he took an old rig that was still in quarters, right?
Well, it was the last one in quarters. He was babysitting me, and now a big old house was on fire, and he's waiting and waiting for somebody to come to relieve him on babysitting detail, and he finally says, "No, let's go." So he scooped me up, and we ran to the fire. He ran me to the firehouse, threw me up in the front seat of the old Mac, and off we go. And I was probably 5 years old, and it was just, the whole world was on fire from my vantage point.
As a 5-year-old, yeah, right?
Yeah. I'd never seen anything like that, and it left an indelible
sure he buckled you in, too. Sure he buckled you in.
No seatbelts on it. It was an open cab, no doors on the rig. It was just, okay, here's the handholds. Hold on.
Can you imagine that?
Hold on, Johnny.
Can you imagine? That's hilarious.
Now, he used to sit you there all the time, right? So you spend a lot of time with whoever was pumping, right? All the time. He would make you stay at the rig, whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was it. Don't get down over that rig. I mean, it was not a chance. Just stay there. The seat is your babysitter right now.
How'd your mom feel about that?
She didn't know about it until afterwards. So,
hey, Peter, do you have a picture of I think one of Joe Sperber's pictures with the whole family there? I think the Chief's father.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
that's your mom and dad, and who is that from you? Oh, we know who you are from right to
left to right. It's my brother Joe. Joe was actually a Beirut Marine.
Wow.
Whoa.
Then a paramedic. He's still serves as a paramedic. My brother David is next to him. David spent 33 years in the NYPD with about 20 in the emergency services unit. He was actually up in the North Tower when the South Tower collapsed. So he's a lucky boy. My sister Nancy. Then my brother Warren. Warren spent 20 years in the NYPD in some really serious units, and then went and spent 5 years in Iraq and Afghanistan hunting bad guys after the World Trade Center.
Unbelievable.
And then making him. So
what a patriotic family, man. What a civil service.
So your parents did all right then. You guys did all right.
I'd say
so. Yeah, I mean, we learned from my father. He set the example. He was a World War II sailor. His first carrier got sunk by a U-boat in the Atlantic, and luckily only 6 guys died.
Wow.
So they basically, all the escorts picked up the crew, took them to Casablanca, and then when they came back, they put them on a new carrier, sent them out to the Pacific, and they were supporting the landing at Okinawa, taking kamikazes out there. So he saw virtually everything.
Wow.
What a generation, right? What a generation.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Instilled that service in all of us. You talk about John F. Kennedy's, ask not what your country can do for you.
Yeah.
Right.
What you could do for your country.
Well, Chief, I got to ask, your brother that was in Beirut, was he there during the Marine barracks?
His unit had just rotated out. They were still at sea when the bombing occurred, so they turned him around and ran him back in there.
Unbelievable.
And help provide security and pick up the pieces.
My God.
Wow.
I'm so sorry to hear that he had to even see the aftermath.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That's the entire family that gives back to the community right there and the country, right? Very proud. You should be very proud, Chief. Honestly, really. Your dad and mom should be very proud. Is your mom still alive, or your dad?
No, they both passed. Yeah, they both passed.
Wow.
So you become a volley. Let me see. Hold on a minute. You joined the Inwoods in '70, right, Ruffy? I don't want to tell the Chief that we were only 2, but you got on in 1970 when you joined the Inwood Volley.
We got a picture. Don't we got a picture of that?
Not of Inwood. Of
when you go to Oklahoma,
Stillwater.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So, how old were you when you joined in '70? You were
18.
18, and your dad was still what was he, chief? Was he an officer? What was he doing back
then?
No,
he was an ex-chief. Yeah, he was the chief back in 52 to 54. Ooh.
All right. So, but you, like, according to your book, that you guys were catching some work there in Inwood, right? I mean,
Inwood did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Man. It was a busy place.
Yeah.
They were building 878, which leads to Long Beach. Yeah. They knocked down hundreds and hundreds of houses through Inwood to build that road. And from the time they moved everybody out until the wreckers got there,
vacants, right?
They were the arsonists' playground. So that was a lot of work. And then, they built a lot of public housing there. And again, the same thing. Before they knocked the buildings down, I mean, we were doing 5 jobs a night at times.
Wow. Oh, shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Now, were you able to catch any of that work with your dad?
Yeah, he was the first due engine show for half the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, right?
Get in there, kid.
Yeah.
Right up until he was still, driving the first due engine up until, into the 90s.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Chief, I've driven that road probably every day for 10 years when I was coming home from work, because I would come through Rockaway to get to Long Beach. Yeah. And I would never knew that's what that was until you just said it. And it blew my mind. It's a trip. Yeah. It tore the city down. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it ruined the community. It really did. It was very bad for the community. It was such a, working class, but it was a, real tight knit community. And then they basically ran this road right through the middle of it. So,
right. Now, your brothers were all volleys too, though, right? You're
yeah.
So you were able to catch work with them? Like, you ever have any good stories of being on the pipe with them? Or
yeah, I mean, we ran the first due engine for a large part of it. I mean, I had a picture. I didn't send it to you, but there's a picture of my brother Warren and I. We're overhauling at this place that it turns out they made nerve agent antidote. They had enough nerve agent in this place that we knew nothing about to wipe out.
That can't be good. That can't be good.
We had a job then,
I can't feel my face.
Yeah, we all have a little nerve agent right here with us as well.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the pictures that Joe Sperber sent, there's a picture of myself, my brother Warren, my brother David was in that, I think, as well. And it was a old hotel that we had a good job in. So
the last picture, Peter.
Yep, I got
black
it.
And white.
The Walcott one, this one?
Yeah, Walcott.
Wow.
Yeah. So, well, let's see. The fellow on the far left is my brother Warren, and he's the grumpy one while everybody else is smiling.
Rubber
coats and dungarees. Nice.
Wow, that's great, man.
Hey, Chief, did those guys, were your brothers, did they all want to be firemen, and it just worked out that they didn't, however it worked out, became cops, or no?
I don't really know. I mean, they actually Warren got on the PD before I got on the fire department. It was just a question of, okay, who called first? I'm sure he took took all the tests. The PD called,
right?
And he's let's say a kind of rough individual. He likes to fight.
A little rough around the edges.
Yeah, I like it. All
right.
So I think
we need a little bit more of that nowadays, I think.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
He was the ESU cop?
No, that was David. Warren was Warren. He started out as a beat cop and actually a housing authority cop up in the South Bronx.
Ooh, man.
When they merged the NYPD and housing PD, he ended up He was a anti-crime cop in Ridgewood. Then he got into serious units. He was a detective for about 12 years.
Wow.
Did a lot of organized crime control for about 8.
Oof.
He was in an anti-gun task force with the FBI and ATF. He was doing some really serious dudes.
These Normans turned out all right, Ruffy. You see these guys? Yeah. How about that? How about pulling up
Probably
the whole
got hit with a wooden spoon a lot. That's
everybody did. Absolutely. Come on. That
the
was
only
the
way to
slipper,
fly.
right? The slipper. My mother used to break the wooden spoon over on us.
We didn't even get hit that much, but we got disciplined, man. Butch was, okay. The threat was enough to make you stand.
The threat. Well, that's what it is. Once you just have to do it one time, and then after that, that's it. You don't have to do it anymore. You just give them the look.
Yeah.
I remember one night it was okay. Stand at attention outside my door. He's going to bed. You stand at attention there. Me and Warren. I don't know how long we were at attention, man. It seemed like forever.
Yeah.
I love it. I freaking love it. I might use
we used to get the old if I have to tell your father when he gets home, you're like, oh no, don't tell my father. Yeah. If he comes home from the firehouse, I'm gonna tell him what happened. Oh no, please no. Yeah.
I got the belt many a time. That was
that's all right.
Pleasurable.
That's all right. So after that, you go out to Oklahoma State University to School of Fire Protection and worked as a student, a part-time paid firefighter with Stillwater, Oklahoma FD. That's the one we got, Pete. Look at that guy over there.
Yeah.
Engine 37.
That might be the chin there too. We could call him the chin, maybe.
Yeah.
A tall drink of water right there, man. Is that a Proby patch or is that their front?
No, that was their red front piece.
Oh wow,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Did you catch any work out there? Or
a little bit. Actually, my first run with them, or maybe not the first, but within the first week, we had a garden apartment complex under construction where when we pull up, there's 20 apartments fully involved. I mean, just plywood and, joists. And by the time we left, there was about 36 involved.
Swing and a miss, he struck him out.
They're asking what kind of rig that is, Chief.
That's a Seagrave.
Yes. All right.
1970. I think it was a 70 Seagrave.
Open cab, is it?
Yeah, semi-enclosed.
Because the back is open there. Yeah.
The jump seat's right there where I'm standing. So.
What'd your parents say when you said, I'm going to Oklahoma?
I'm going to Oklahoma, Dad.
Actually, it wasn't my plan.
The musical on Broadway? What? What are you doing?
That was not my plan. My father's plan was that I was going to Annapolis. He, being a World War II sailor, his carrier, the second carrier, was the first one in the United States to have an all-marine air group operate off of it when they were operating off Okinawa. And it had a full colonel as the air group commander. And he was just so impressed with that, Marine colonel. He every time he talked about him, it was just, you could see the awe in his face. So he says, you're going to Annapolis. Get that over you. That's where you're going. Okay, I was good. I didn't even apply to another college. I was going to Annapolis. I mean, it's all worked out. He's got the plan laid out. Okay.
Butch just got it squared away. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Except I went for the physical now over at St. Albans Naval Hospital. And when the dentist looked at my mouth, he says, "Nah, I don't think so, son." So Annapolis was out, and now I don't have a plan. I'm like,
wait, what with the dentist? What do you mean the dentist looked at you?
Oh, I had horrible teeth. I still have horrible teeth.
So they won't let you in Annapolis because you have bad teeth?
No. They don't want the responsibility of your dental care for the rest of your life.
Holy crap. Are you serious?
Holy shit.
Well, I mean, certain job, like if you're in a submarine and your teeth have cavities and stuff, I mean, you can't equalize your ears, the pressure and stuff.
Right.
It's just not
I never
good.
thought of that. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's valid reasons for it, but
I gotcha.
so now I don't have a college. So there were
Or
two
plan
brothers.
B.
Yeah, no plan B, and it's April now.
Oh.
College
shit.
starts in September, and I don't have a plan. So Inwood was very fortunate. We had a lot of New York City guys, firefighters, in the Inwood Fire Department. Guys like Joe Ball and John Ball, in particular, Peter Donald, Billy Donald, Jay Tavallaro. I mean, these are all great firemen in busy companies. And Joe and John had both also gone to Oklahoma State University. So they said, well, talk to Joe and John and see if you want to go to Oklahoma State. You also like the fire department. So I talked to them and they said, yeah, it's great. Try it. So sure enough, I went out to Oklahoma State, and the rest is history, as they say,
Really?
Great learning.
When did you take the test then for the city? When were you?
Not till 77, because the 73 test, nobody told me that the filing was open. I was still out in Oklahoma.
Oh, shit.
So I come back and we didn't know if you wanted to take the tests.
You think? I don't know.
Yeah. So 77, I took the December 77 test and got hired in 79.
That was a tough test. We talked about that with who was Scotto, right? That was the ledge walk and the pull, the hold, the pull up.
Yeah, the arm hang and yeah. That was.
I didn't realize that. Chief Billy Donald, he was my lieutenant in 117. I didn't realize.
Okay,
he was in 216, right? Was he in 216?
Yeah.
108.
Yeah. Billy was 124.
Right.
Great guy, man. Some fireman. So yeah, he was an Inwood guy. His brother Pete, he was a 209 guy. Jay Tavallaro was a 102 truck. Joe was in 230 engine. That's where I spent my first night in the New York City firehouse. 1969, Joe took me in to work with him one night in 230 in Squad 3. And I was like, man, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. How do I get this job? So, and John was a lieutenant in Squad 4 the year they did 10,000 runs. He was in TCU 531. I mean, his nickname was Fireball. I got to give a shout out to John.
I got to do the math here. 10,000 runs is 27 runs a day.
Fireball. I like
27 runs a day.
Oh,
well, where were you talking about, Chief, in when 290 and 103? Did they have squad in there for a short time?
Before I got there, Squad 4 used to rotate through 3 houses. They used to go to 290, they used to go to 231, and then 283. Right.
And you said it did 20. That door opened 25,000 times a year, right?
At least, yeah.
25,000 times a year. A rig went out of that on a call, bro. That's insane.
Chief, when I first got to 290, I was going through like all the old files. I was trying to get rid of stuff, and they had building folders, right? And they had the files in there, and I would just read, what the guys were typing up real quick. And it was like, 3-story building, 20 by 80, and 3 floors of fire. It was 290. I'm not kidding. 290, 231, 103, 103.2, and Squad 4. And that was it. And then 2 days later, there's another one right behind it, and it's the same exact thing. And then 2 weeks later, it was the same. It was like they were having the same building over and over and over again. It was those same companies: 103, 103.2, Squad 4, and 2 engines. 2 and 2 in the squad.
An amazing play. Well, that was a big thing too. I mean, it was the 1030 signal.
Right.
They didn't give the 1075. So you got 2 and 2. But the manning was bigger too. Everybody was at least a 5-man engine, and in some cases 6 or 7-man companies, depending on time of year, vacations and so on. So I
Yeah,
mean,
you guys didn't always send somebody out, right? If you were heavy, sometimes if nobody did, you did
yeah,
stay in the
sometimes
firehouse,
they
right?
rode heavy. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I remember we pulled up one early morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, because we had an interchange company in as the truck. So it wasn't 103; it was another company that I'll go anonymous. I'm not going to tell who they were.
All right.
You could sneeze it.
Sneeze it out.
But this box comes in Sheffield and Belmont. So we get up there, first trucks behind us. There's a frame, 3-story frame roaring. Every opening is full of fire. Exposure 3 and exposure 4 are also frames, and both sides of them are fully involved. We end up stretching 3 lines. 290 operates 3 lines by ourselves. A 2.5 with me and Kevin Malone on it. Neil Lehane has 1 3/4 on one of the exposures, and Dickie Leeds operating a deck gun. And the truck, the supposed truck, is standing there with their hooks.
Wait a minute. Wait, time out. Did you
Like
say
shepherd.
supposed? Did you say supposed truck? You said supposed truck. He said supposed truck was then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And now the 4-4 gets there, and the first word he's asking, what's the, searches in the exposures and all. They said, Chief, we're supposed to be going home. We're not supposed to be here. Get your asses in there. Oh man,
we were supposed to. Be
Wait, you know what? We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So let me go back a little bit. So
I love it.
You're appointed in October 79, November 79. You get assigned to 290. Pete, pull that one up. Is that the story about finding out your assignment? So you got to tell us that. How you get to 90 and 103 by accident, maybe, I don't know. And the story behind how you found out your assignment.
Well, yeah. Again, all my buddies were up in the 3-4 battalion, and like George Gander had been a fireman in 230. I used to teach with George on the side. He's an instructor out at the Rock when I'm going through Proby school. And everybody's saying, oh, yeah, you're going to engine 209. We'll get you to 209. You do a couple of years in 209. We'll get you across the floor to 102 and all this.
Guy's dyslexic.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a plan to me. I don't know. And, when the night the order's coming down, they said, okay, go to your local firehouse tonight and, you can see where you go. So I go to the nearest firehouse, which, again, will remain nameless. But the guy on watch is absolutely boxed. 6 o'clock at night, 6:30.
Come on.
The guy is boxed. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Come on.
So he says, no, yeah, kid, okay, listen, the order's not down yet. Call back at about 10 o'clock. I'll tell you where you're going. So, all right. I called back at 10 o'clock. The same guy is still on watch. And if anything, he's worse. I says, yeah, hi, listen, I called, I was here before. I want to see where I'm going. You got the orders there yet? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, hold on. He said, what's your name again? And I go, Norman. He says, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Norman, yeah. You're going to engine 290. And I'm like, 290? You sure it ain't 209?
You drunken bastard.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. You can't even read, right?
Yeah.
When I get to the Proby school the next morning, it was 290. And I'm like, okay, where is it? I have no idea.
Never heard of him.
I didn't. I had no idea where it was. So I have no idea how I got there.
Oh.
Like I said, everybody was supposed to be taking care of me. Said they were going to get me to 209. So
Yeah.
That plan didn't work.
All right. Wow. So how long you get there? How long? We always ask this question. How long before you catch your first job? Couldn't have been that long, over in 90.
Nah, I don't recall exactly the first fire there. It wasn't that long, but I remember, people talking, oh yeah, you can't wait till you get your first one. And I'm like, well, okay,
Well, Well,
But
but
I had 9 years.
you had fire experience.
You know, I had gone to a lot of fires before that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to do it.
Right.
I just didn't know I wasn't going to be able to keep up with guys like Johnny Cox. I mean, you know, some of the legendary tough guys in 290.
Were you surprised at all, or was it different than what you thought it was going to be? Coming from a fire background that you had, going to some jobs, what was different about it when you got there?
Well, the one thing that we had a Lieutenant Dick Henning was there at the time, and he was like, okay, Dick was also a volley out on Long Island, and he knew Inwood because he was in a neighboring community. He says, you guys in Inwood are very big on the 2.5. Here we take 1 3/4 for everything. And I'm like, okay, we'll see, you know. So that was, you know, a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But
was the turnout the same? Was still turning out fast back then?
Oh yeah. If you weren't on the rig, you know, like that, man, they'd leave you behind. You know, it was a great place. You know, I learned so much there. I mean, I had great officers, great senior men. I mean, in both companies, and they all took, you know, very seriously teaching the new guys. You know,
Right.
the one thing I was very surprised at, you know, the first day I'm there, they show me, okay, here's where you're gonna sit. Okay, you're gonna be right behind the engine officer. And okay, we're gonna do a practice. We're gonna run through. Okay, get up in the cab. Everybody gets in their place. Okay, rig stops. Get out. And as we're getting out, I'm taking my mask. And everybody, hold it, stop. What are you doing? My mask. No. Oh no, I must have they had me set up as the backup man. That's right. The first 6 months you were the backup man. So the backup man, you sat at the door, and the mask wasn't, you know, right there. It was up next to you. So that's why I had to take it down. And no, you don't do that here. Said, why not? You know, because company policy, the nozzle man and the backup man start the line in, and the third and fourth guys will relieve you with the mask if you need it.
Yep.
And I'm like, why? The mask is right here. I remember, you know, the old days, like when I started in 1970, the mask in a box in a compartment on the side of the rig. And I remember practicing and doing time drills. And from the moment you said go, to get the compartment open, get the mask box out, get the mask out of the box, do the test. You know, you were doing good to have the mask on in under a minute and a half. Mm-hmm. So they didn't want to wait a minute and a half to get the line started, which was great, you know, get the line in operation. But the mask is right here next to me now. That made no sense to me.
That doesn't make any sense. Right?
When in Rome, do as the Romans.
Yeah. So, Chief, I just want to, I mean, you have to read the book to really get a good grasp of what the neighborhood, you know, was like back then. So if you can, you know, like I'm just going to read a couple of things that I have highlighted in here. Like there was a certain area around 290's quarters that you guys would call the airport, because you said, as an old timer put it, you could land a 747 out there and not hit a single building, right? Because
brick farms. That's all it was. Brick farms.
Everything was burnt down, right? It was like a war zone, right? Like,
yep. You know, that was out mostly Blake Avenue, Sutter Avenue, and you know, a little further east. But yeah, I mean,
the firehouse was the only
box there every morning at about 7 a.m. There was a ERS box that would come in 7 o'clock, like clockwork. And there's not a soul in sight. There's nothing within 4 blocks in any direction, it seemed, you know. Some bastard was walking along and just hit that ERS box every morning just to, you know, bust balls.
Right. No, so whatever buildings weren't burnt down, right? They were leveling those buildings, correct? I mean,
yeah, they were, you know, rebuilding the neighborhood. The whole Nehemiah houses projects were on the horizon.
Right.
So they were clearing the land for them. So the
Now,
whole neighborhood is entirely different today. You know,
right.
it's been rebuilt. Like I said, when I was there were 3 5-story vacants behind us that were just, it was too much of a pain in the ass to take them down because they were so close to the firehouse. But
Right.
everything else on that block was brick farms, vacant lots.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was a damn shame. It's
like
since
right,
been rebuilt again.
Yeah.
Right.
They had the lot on the corner where we used to park is they
Yep.
put a 5 or 6 story building there, I think.
yeah. Now also to give you some perspective, you were talking about what the PD was doing in that area, and you were like, you said,
Oh.
was it the 7-5 precinct? They had a phrase
7-5.
that said just like 10-10 wins. You know, you give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. They would say, you give us 22 minutes, we'll give you a homicide. So, I mean, that's how bad it was over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a busy precinct. That was, they earned their keep there, man.
They're still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, also in the book, Chief, because this is a big a thing that I've been researching a lot on, and it's anybody who's worked in the 70s and the 80s, and maybe a little bit prior. You know, we've had some guests on, and we talk about the city almost incentivizing people to burn themselves out of their apartments because they would get not only new furniture, new money, they would be put to the front of the line for housing, right?
Which was massive, I had, real eye-opening event. I mean, well, you'd see it almost every night. You'd see a moving van back up to an apartment house at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Who's moving at 7 o'clock at night? Well, this was the under the radar. Okay, we're getting out. Oh, and there's going to be a fire, and you
Right.
come back 2 or 3 hours later, and yeah, you'd have an apartment, roaring. So, but we had a beautiful building right on the corner of Pennsylvania and Livonia, right? I mean, it was right on the shopping district, steps away from the L train, and we get an oil burner fire there one morning, and the oil burner going to cost a couple of $1,000s to rehab the oil burner, but with no heat, and it's I think November at the time.
Oh boy!
People upstairs are now freezing. There's no hot water, and they start leaving. And the next thing you know, we're going to a vacant apartment fire in there, and all of a sudden now you get the top floor fire, and you burn the roof off, and
Right.
all of a sudden the building is now a shell. And it went from a fully occupied, probably 40 family apartment house to a vacant shell in under a year.
Yeah.
Because the landlord had no incentive to repair. So,
Right. So there was so many different things happening at that time. Not only the city incentivizing people to burn themselves out, the landlords taking off and not giving a shit. Now you had the people who had no landlord, who had no heat, who now have kerosene heaters, who now have their stoves and their ovens on to try to warm themselves. You had the crime, you had everything happening at the right time.
Storm.
Perfect storm for the city to burn down, and the city didn't care.
Well, there's a great book out called The Fires. The Fires. And damn, it escapes me who wrote it now. But
Flood. Is
yes.
it Flood?
Yeah.
Yes. And he talks about how the bean counters
there were people, politicians who were making conscious decisions to burn neighborhoods down so they could rehab them or move people around the city. Yeah.
Yep.
It was a tragedy.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was unbelievable time for firefighters, but in that time, not only were the fires through the roof, but they're shutting down firehouses, they're cutting manning. So I think we lost more guys in that time span than we lost at 9/11. The guys dying on the job.
Not quite. But yeah, it was in the height of the 60s and 70s, there were a couple of years where they lost about 30 guys. It was routine to lose 11 or 12 a year.
Right.
Wow. That's a lot of guys.
Oh, sure. I didn't hear a word.
Oh, Giants.
Oh, whoa.
Speaking of Giants, I wanted
Speaking of Giants, Pete.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of Giants,
You know what? I just sorry about that.
What?
Hold on.
He's all
Giants.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Hey,
I
Chief,
actually hit
did
the
you,
horn, but my volume was down because I have a
you
new
work
sound
with-
effect. Hold on.
Hold on, he's excited.
Who we got? You
Nice.
know who we got on tonight, Pete? We have on the goat.
Hey, Chief, did you work with the Vidge or Frank Posa or any of those guys?
Frank was still there. John Vigiano had gone to the rescue already. He actually came back to Sheffield Avenue a couple of times, had dinner with us, to get into the neighborhood where all the fire duty was from Carlton Avenue. So, Frank was still there. Senior guys in the truck. I mean, I had, like I say, some great guys. Charlie Anderson was a senior guy. Russ Bankston, Bobby Bachman. I mean, they were just all-star cast of characters. I said in the engine, the legendary Johnny Cox, man. He was an amazing guy. Tough fireman, man. His last tour as a fireman, he's going to get promoted. We go to a job, and it's one of them 3-story, what I call the East New Yorkers. They're 3-story brick, about 20 foot wide, 80 foot deep. And it's the front apartment on the 3rd floor is roaring, but the wind is blowing in. It's going down the stairs and coming out the front door like a locomotive. I got to put my mask on at the front door. And Cox did the whole fire without a mask. I'm like, holy shit. I don't know how he did it,
Yeah.
But tough guys,
Tough
man.
bastards, man. Yeah, no doubt. So, well, we'll get to him. You go across to the truck, but before you go to the truck, you say one of the most influential people in your career was Steve Cassani, right? So he went from 90 and he went back to SOC, right? Oh, there he is. Look at Pete. Pete's on his A game. Look at you.
Wow.
Yeah. Steve had been a fireman in 12 truck in Manhattan and then Rescue 1. And he got promoted and he came out to East New York, and it was a total waste of his talent. He was an absolutely incredible fire officer. He was great for 290 because we had a lot of young guys. And Steve was always drilling, always teaching. So he was absolutely a spectacular boss. But he belonged in a rescue company.
Right.
So, he was out there, and I say the reason he was out there was so that I could meet him, because he was absolutely influential in my career. He guided me throughout my career. He was a huge mentor.
Right. So he goes off while you're in 90, he goes up to Rescue 3, correct? And you go across the floor for a bit?
Yeah, I went to 103. I was there for probably about, a cup of tea and a half.
But then he called you, right, and asked you to come up to 3, correct?
Yeah. Steve got up to 3, and when they needed a firefighter, had an opening for a firefighter, he talked to Captain Billy Ryan and said, hey, I've got a guy for you. So Captain Billy decided to give me a chance,
Well, that says a lot about you that you left that much of an impression on Cassani that, because, I mean, you just must have been first grade, not that long, right?
Not even.
Yeah.
I think I was first grade, man, I don't even know if I was. I had like 4 years on the job when I went to Rescue 3. So,
Wow.
yeah, barely.
Was there any hesitation on your part to take him up on that, or?
Of course. Again, that's Rescue 3 in my mind. They were 8 feet tall giants, really,
Hey,
See, good.
don't you start that now. Crazies. There we go.
That's got to be a pretty early picture there. You look kind of Randy new with a helmet there.
Yep.
Wow.
So, I mean, one of the reasons, well, there were a couple of things happening, but Rescue 3 had just gotten designated as the backup Haz Mat unit.
Mm-hmm.
Rescue 4 was the primary Haz Mat unit at the time. There was no Haz Mat company number 1. So Rescue 4 did hazmat duty, and in big incidents, they needed more bodies than 5 guys on duty. So they designated Rescue 3 as the backup. And I had been a New York State certified hazmat instructor because I teach out in Bethpage at the Nassau County Fire Academy. So when they found out, well, Steve knew, okay, I could hit the ground running and, help teach guys hazmat.
Right.
So that was a big, plus in my ball, in my park. So
you get up there and let me see where you're at here. Where am I? You get up there at 83, right? Oh, that looks like a job on the Deegan we got there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the Deegan Expressway. Yeah, that was about 6 months after I got there.
Look at that.
So
Oof.
yeah, that was a mess. Car on fire, full of people.
Oh my God.
There was 3 young couples and an infant with them.
Oh my God.
The babysitter and her boyfriend got in the car with 2 other couples, and they're going up the Deegan. Well, actually, they're getting onto the Deegan. They came down the entrance ramp, and they basically cut in front of the tractor trailer, and their rear bumper caught his front bumper, which pulled the car around in front of the truck.
Oh my God.
And now they're going down the highway at 60 miles an hour and end up backwards. And, car catches fire. So the dispatcher sent 3-2 in the rescue on the box based on phone calls. And we get there and they had, knocked the fire down. But now we look in and it's a pile of bodies.
Oh my!
We don't know whether it's, everybody's dead or not. So Lieutenant Spohr, Joe Spohr was the boss that night. He says, get in underneath there and see what you can see up under the truck. And while I'm crawling around looking for, what's going on under the truck, and I see a body moving. I could see it's in the back window of the car, and I could just see the back expanding, opening. This guy's still breathing.
Wow.
So I call up the boss. I says, boss, we got a live one down here, And he's what? Because everything was charred. Everybody else is charred bodies.
Jesus.
So now we got to see if we can get them out of there. But he's on the bottom of the pile. And now we got to move that rig sideways because his head is actually between the rear wheels.
Oh my
We can't
God.
drive the truck forward. We can't drive the truck backwards. So now we got to pull the truck sideways, and it's loaded with bananas. It's 80,000 pounds of bananas.
God.
I'm like, how the hell are we going to do this? But Joe Spohr was a rigger, really, really smart guy. He says, okay, get the airbags, and we're going to jack this thing up, and then we're going to pull it off the airbags. It's a procedure that riggers used before, a lot of fancy casters and stuff. They used to call it falling the load. So they'd lift something, 6 inches, pull it sideways, and you'd get 2 or 3 inches of sideways movement.
Right.
So that's what we did, except now Joe adds another touch to it. He says, put the chainsaw bar oil, when you get it raised up,
So
get
it
it in
slides?
under the tires and put it in the path that we're going to haul it. So we hooked the rescue rig's winch up to it and pull that thing off and pull it sideways. So then we
That
could
guy
flap
survived?
the roof down.
Was
That guy survived, and there was the infant underneath him.
Oh my God! Wow.
So he protected the infant from being on top.
Yeah. Incredible.
Wow. You know what, Chief? Before we go a little further, I got to backtrack a little because there's a great story in the book about the Father's Day Pier when you jumped in the water when you were in 90. Because Cassani was working that night, right?
Cassani was the boss because I would have never thought of it otherwise, Yeah, we get a call. The box is, I think it's 2199. It's the farthest box in 290-103's response area. It's at the foot of Rockaway Parkway at the Belt Parkway. And it usually, it comes in on occasion. Usually it's a car fire or something on the Belt Parkway. But as we're going down there that night, the dispatcher says they got a report of a car in the water. Again, Steve, being a Rescue 1 guy, says, okay, car in the water. Rescue 2's a long way away. So if there's anybody in the car, take your mask with you, your regular Scott 4.5 mask, and we're going, you and me and Tommy Pellegrino, we're going to go swimming. And I'm like, can we do that?
I didn't know you
I'm going to ask you that right now. I have no idea.
It says up to 25 feet, you said, right?
That was his, yeah. It was positive pressure if you needed to put the, positive pressure air on, and less than 1 atmosphere, it was good. They had to trash the mask afterwards because of the salt intrusion into the block, but the job doesn't like you to do it. I will tell you, do not
I didn't know you could do it.
I didn't know you could do that either.
Yeah.
Well, Steve knew. And Steve took us to the pool afterwards to prove it. They had a pool down in Starrett City. And Steve took us down to Starrett City and says, yeah, here. But it turns out when we get down to the pier, there is no car involved. It's just 2 guys in the water, both drunk, 2 brothers, actually. And the one stumbled off the pier, and the other brother jumped in to save him, rescue him, which he did, except now they're about 15 or 18 feet below the water, below the pier level, and they can't get up. They can't go anywhere. And the one brother is really, he's passed out now. So the other brother is holding him up when the whole first alarm assignment pulls up. And now they're up at the top of the pier looking down and, okay, what are we going to do for these guys? So they 170 and 257 lower a portable ladder down. But these guys are so bombed, they can't climb this ladder. There's no way they're going to do it. So they lowered the life-saving ropes down to him, and one brother is trying to hold the other guy up and try to tie a knot, and that ain't happening. So all of a sudden, I'm watching from the edge, and I'm pretty far down the end. There's got to be 25 people standing all on the edge of the pier, and I'm down at the end because Steve had sent me back to the rig with the masks when he found out we don't need them. Oh, here, take my mask, put them back. So I go back to the rig, come back. And now I'm looking and I'm like, wow, man, these guys are going to die because he just lets go and they're done. They just fade back and then now they're sinking. And I'm like, shit, somebody better do something here.
I'd like to start you working here, bro.
Somebody better do something.
I've said that many times.
It hits me.
I love it.
You are somebody. Do something.
You're somebody. I could be somebody. I could be somebody.
Cassani says, Norman, get in there and get him. So, okay. I jump in, and I'm not a real good swimmer. But, okay, it seemed like the thing to do at the time, is all I'll say. But, jumping off a pier is not a good idea because there's barnacle-encrusted pilings up under that pier that I end up managing to hit with my one leg. And I'm like, oh, shit, that hurt, But now, as I'm going down, I see a flash on my left and this red hair. I caught the red hair, and it was Gene DeMarco from 103 jumping in. And Gene got the one guy, and I got the other guy. And now we drag him back over to the ladder and tie them up in a life-saving rope. And the guys up on the top pull them up. And, it was a good job.
Yeah, and you said that you didn't realize how badly you hurt your foot until you tried to climb the ladder yourself, right?
Yeah. When you're in the water and with all the adrenaline pumping,
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine, but now, okay, the adrenaline's starting to back off, and now I got to climb this vertical ladder, and that wasn't happening either now. So they got to throw the rope down to me and tie myself up, and they haul me up. So
right,
yeah, it was always free, thank God. But all I could think of is, if I had jumped 6 inches to the left, it would have come up right in between my legs. You know.
Whoa.
Steve, you speaking of soprano?
Well, that means you take the good with the bad,
Can
sir.
you imagine that pulling at the rescue too? Hey, Lieutenant Norman report.
Gosh.
Tell you what, there wouldn't be no more Giants then.
Hey!
Oh!
But I tell you though, there'd still be one of these.
They wound up getting a class 3 for that, right?
Yeah.
But there had been so many medals that year that that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, usually
your
a class
barnacles
3
and
is
get
good
out
for
of here.
a medal day appearance, you know,
Yeah.
but not that year.
Well, all right. All right, so let's go back now. I had to get that story, and that was a great story. So this is the part that me and Louie, we got to hear the story because it says you transfer from Rescue 3 to Haz Mat 1, and on the paper you say there's a story, and I'm like, this better be a really good story.
Again, now, you know, I had the background. I'm a state hazmat instructor, and now they're opening a hazmat company. And Jack Calderon was a covering lieutenant in Rescue 3 at the time. He was going to go to hazmat, so he's lobbying me real hard. Come on, we gotta have some guys who've done this before. So they decided they're going to take 4 guys and put one of us in each group at hazmat, so that again, there's one guy at least that's done this before. So it's me, Connie Tinney from Rescue 3. He was fairly new in Rescue 3, and Chris Waters, also from Rescue 3. Chris was a high school chemistry instructor.
Nice.
And Jimmy Oliveri from Rescue 4. So
Locksmith.
those are the 4. The locksmith, absolutely, yeah. Jimmy owes me 24 hours in 5 and 10 minute increments. He's 5 and 10 minutes late every time he rolls.
We see him when it comes to 288 a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. Jimmy was a great guy.
All the time.
Great guy.
Yeah.
But the original deal, when they bring us, we got sold a bill of goods, basically. You know, when we're talking about this, we go down to see Chief Brown. Ray Brown was the chief of rescue services at the time. And, you know, oh, yeah, you're going to go. First off, 288 was a single engine. You're going to act as the truck, you know, on 288's first 2 boxes.
Yeah.
You're going to go on every second alarm in a commercial building in the city.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get plenty of work. You know?
It doesn't sound that bad that way. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I would do it, maybe.
Listen, how do you think they got guys to go to the squad? Because if they would have said, hey, you guys are coming to hazmat, that's it. They were like, fuck no.
Yeah, so it was, you know, like I said, they sold us a bill of goods, and after 6 months, everybody else got to go back to their companies.
Right.
Chris Waters and Connie Tinney both went back to Rescue 3. Jimmy wanted to stay in hazmat, but I wanted to go back to Rescue 3. And that ain't going to happen yet. So I got a 6-month sentence to hazmat that I ended up doing 15 months of for bad behavior, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, you got to be Big Philly Mac then, right? Big Philly McCall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Phil was there. Phil was one of my, you know, we were together there. I like Phil. Phil's a good man.
Yeah,
If you ever talk to Phil, ask Phil about his first suit job.
Did he fit into the suit?
He fit in. This was a real deal hazmat job. This was real bad. We go down about 10 o'clock at night to 39th Street in Brooklyn, 39th and like 10th Avenue, an industrial area. And the companies are on the scene, and it's an acid spilling out of a tank. And there is a visible vapor cloud against the night sky. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of feet high.
I'm out. Right, this guy right here. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
This is real bad, you know. And the chief is on the scene.
And that's in the 80s too, so you know that shit was squared away.
I'm driving, and we have a brand new lieutenant, because the lieutenant who talked me into going to hazmat, Jack Calderon, I love Jack, but now he goes to Rescue 5. And
Oh!
I'm still in Haz Mat, you know.
See you later, John.
Yeah. So I went with Jack with the understanding that I could be his chauffeur. So, okay, but now he's gone. So now we have a new lieutenant, and I stopped the rig upwind, uphill, about 2 blocks away. I said, we're not going down there. And the chief is on the radio, get down here now. We ain't going down there, boss. Start shooting everybody up here. Phil was one of the entry guys. And Phil goes running down to the scene because the chief is saying, if you don't get down here right now, I'm sending these guys in. And he went in unzipped. He didn't have his suit zipped up when he ran down there. And I'm like, this ain't the way we do this. This is not the way we do this. And we get down there, and they zip them up close to the scene, but this ain't good. They go in to take a sample, and they take a glass sample jar in with them because we don't know what it is, and they dip it into the liquid on the ground, and he's carrying it back out, and the bottom falls out of the glass sample jar.
Whoa!
This is
Wrap
bad,
it up.
bad stuff. Yeah. That was Phil's first suit job. That was my introduction to Haz Mat.
Philly Mac Daddy.
Philly Max. What did you guys? You had like a first piece and a second piece, the same type of thing, like an old rescue rig, or what'd you have?
Yeah, we had it was a rig. It was a brand new rig that Rescue 4 had designed for Haz Mat purposes. So that was the first piece, and an old converted pumper.
Oh,
so
right, a Batt pumper. Right. Yeah. Wow.
So
all right. So you did your time there. Not bad on the resume. I mean, you knew Haz Mat anyway, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people there. We had some great guys. Ray Meisenheimer was one of the original guys. Philly. I mean, Kevin Cully. I mean, it was some really, really great guys. But the thing that got me is we went for 3 months without a run on a night tour. I'm coming from 103,
Yikes.
And,
well, it rejuvenated your career.
Yeah.
Runs, we ain't doing anything. And the first real run we get on a night tour after that 3-month stint, it's a legitimate radioactive material spill.
Another one.
At Kennedy Airport. And I'm like, and the guys are pissing and moaning about getting up. Oh my God, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta run. Get up, you lazy bastards. Come on. I'm ready to leave.
Never changed.
Yeah.
I said, that's it. And then we were doing an oil spill in the basement of a private house and humping bags of Speedy Dry into the cellar of this house. And in the meantime, there's a 3rd or 4th alarm in the Bronx. And I'm going back out to the rig. And second alarm transmitted, Bronx Box.
That's got to hurt.
Take another bag of Speedy Dry down the cellar. The 3rd alarm has been transmitted in the Bronx Box. Fourth alarm. And I said, I used to go to those fires.
That's when he came up to the captain's office and he did this Kramer. I'm out.
Yeah, I went to the captain and he says, yeah, okay. Sorry to say, eventually after about 15 months.
What about all that first do work that 288 was doing? I mean, you were the truck kid. Oh, maybe not.
Well, they didn't let us do it.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let us respond.
Even if they did, you wouldn't have got to it. There was none.
Chief, we used to say all the time, you know what the native Indian word for no fire is? Maspit.
Oh my God.
See, it had a lot of. I worked in Maspeth as the fire protection engineer. My office was down on Maspeth Avenue, so I knew that neighborhood.
Right.
Tremendous fire potential down there, man. A lot of heavy duty industry.
Oh yeah, there is definitely. Yeah. All right. So where do you go after that? You go back to you do. I
go back to Rescue 3.
Oh, you did go back to Rescue 3. Okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, Captain Billy let me back, you know. So it was a great spot there.
Big Blue.
That was one of our pier fires. That's another good story right there. Frank Donnelly, he's the third guy from the left in that picture. He later was a battalion chief up in the 16th Battalion, but he's the R group officer in rescue services in the 13th Battalion at the time. There was no rescue services. So he used to cover, in there regularly. And the job had just given us the Gumby suits there, the cold water exposure suits.
Right.
They gave them to us, but they didn't give us any orders or training or anything like that.
No, come
Here's
on,
your
I don't
suits.
believe it.
Yeah.
Now
Here's
kick
your
rocks.
suits. Good, right.
Yeah.
Marty McTeague was a lieutenant there, and Marty took us out, and we drilled up at Van Cortlandt Park with them. But now we get called one night down to 132nd Street in the South Bronx for a fire under a pier. And the dispatcher calls and says, "Rescue, do you have your big chainsaws?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, go to this pier fire down on 132nd Street." And when we get there, they had been fooling with this pier for about 45 minutes. And it started out at the far end of the pier, and now it's burning in underneath, burning back in toward land. And I know, I had read a lot. I had read like Los Angeles Fire Department started a under pier firefighting team back in the 70s. The only way you put out a pier fire is from in the water. You can't do it from the land.
Right.
We burned down all the piers on the west side of Manhattan trying to fight them from fireboats or from the land or using, cutting holes in the deck. But if you get in the water with an 1 3/4 line, you can put this thing out. So I go to Frank Donnelly there. I says, "Lou," I says, "we can put this thing out. They gave us these exposure suits. We got the boat. Let's get in the water and take an 1 3/4 under this pier and put it out." And he says, "Okay." So he goes to the chief, and the chief says, "Okay, try it." And we do a great job. 15 minutes, this fire is out. So we come out, and again, we posing for the picture. You see everybody's happy, smiling and everything. We did a great job. The next morning, Lieutenant Donnelly gets a call. "Lieutenant," somebody at headquarters. I don't know exactly who, but somebody's, "Lieutenant, did you guys go to a pier fire last night?" Yeah, Chief, we did. We did a great job, You did a great job, did you? Did you perhaps enter the water? He says, yeah, we used those new suits you gave us, What the hell's the matter with you? You're not supposed to go in the water. You can't use that for going in. You're supposed to call the scuba rescues. Get down here. I want you in my office at 9:15. He doesn't get relieved till 9 o'clock. You think you're doing a great thing.
Gonna kick right in the balls.
That wasn't the plan. So
here's some new suits, kid. Go figure out how to use them. Oh,
That's
you learned how to use them? What's
baby.
wrong with you? My God.
Silly.
Ooh, it's a no-win.
Right.
I got some other photos here from you guys.
Let's come up with some of those, Pete. What do you got there?
Yeah, there's Captain Billy in the center there. Gene Shearer, what a great guy Gene was, man. Vietnam Navy SEAL.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Joe Cullen, myself, Captain Billy, Harry Christensen, and a young Jay Jonas on the far right.
Oh my God, is that Jonas?
Holy
Jay Jonas. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
He was the young buck there, man. Holy mackerel.
Movie star over there. Who's that guy? Give us some
Wow.
more, Pete.
Yeah,
There's
man.
a couple more on this.
Great folks. Oh man.
Pete
Yeah.
Lund.
Oh, Pete Lund. Yeah.
Eddie Connolly on the left, who was Artie's son. Pete Lund, myself, Jerry Murtha. Yeah.
Oh, Jerry
Nice.
and Murtha. Yeah, cool.
And then this is the last one here of, I believe, Medal Day, of course.
Yeah. That's Medal Day of '88. So
Wow,
we
you
had
guys got a
5
medal?
guys.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 guys in the rescue won medals that year. Actually,
Wow.
six guys.
Hey, Louie, you notice that they're all leaning in the picture?
Yeah,
from all
a
the
lot
from all the metal.
A lot of medals on those jackets.
My
there.
God.
Hey, what's that guy in the middle with the bushy mustache again? What the hell was
Nicky.
his name?
Nicky Giordano, man.
Nicky. Yeah.
Nicky, what a great
Yeah.
guy he is, man.
Wow, that's a
He
great
was there
shot
a long time too, right?
Yeah.
Harry, myself, there on the far left is Dave Rochelle. He was fireman in Rescue 3 and then went to Rescue 5 and did a dive rescue of a hard hat diver trapped by a concrete section underwater.
Oh wow.
Someone on the show talked about this one. It was a real tough dive, right? Like,
oh yeah.
You're right, Pete. Somebody did talk about that. I don't remember who the hell it was.
And he had to kind of crawl down and up and through some really tight spaces.
Yeah, I can't remember who the hell that was.
Yeah.
That's the last one you got of
Paul McFadden there. Okay.
Oh, I'll go back.
Rogers,
Sorry.
Bobby Green.
Yeah, Paul McFadden, Jack Rogers, and Bobby Green is in the white. He's been promoted to fire marshal there. So.
And that's what, 88 you said?
Yeah, you know what? Artie
Medal
worked.
Day of 88. It was after the Third Avenue explosion, which is April of 87.
Oh.
And Artie Workle in the chat is right. It was Hank Mollet. I thought it was Hank, but I wasn't positive. Mr. Mollet was talking about that incredible dive.
Oh, old man Hank. Old man
Yeah,
River.
man.
Old man River Hank.
That man knows. That man knows.
All right, so let's go to 87 of August when you go and you get promoted to lieutenant and you get assigned to Battalion 577 covering the 35th Battalion. And somehow, I don't know how this happens, Ruffy, he winds up in 111 UFO. I don't know how something like that could happen.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Next, let's go.
That is wrong. But he did the wrong thing.
Wow.
Oh,
that was a tough place, man.
Yeah.
Actually, I think, did I give you the picture with Charlie Williams?
Yes.
Charlie Williams.
Yes, 8807, Petey.
Yeah.
1988.
My first tour there was an overtime tour. I think it was Easter. So I go in the front door, and there's Charlie right behind me there. Charlie Williams is a chauffeur. Charlie Williams is one tough son of a bitch.
He looks tough.
Yeah.
He is. He was. He's the mayor of Bed-Stuy, man. He was another Vietnam era Army vet and Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force.
Wow.
At Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He was one of the first people on the ground in Kuwait and stayed. He was an Air Force loadmaster at that time. Charlie was one tough guy. So been promoted maybe 6 months. And I walk in the door and Charlie says, "Hey, Lou, where'd you work?" Like everybody else, they want to know where you worked.
The pedigree. Yep.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, well, I just got promoted. And all I said was out of Upper Manhattan. I didn't say Rescue 3. I didn't say any details. I just got promoted out of Upper Manhattan. He says, "All right, Lou, well, listen, we're doing a lot of work here. We're doing 4 or 5 jobs a night," which they were, because the Muslims were burning out the crack dealers along Fulton Street at the time. Molotov cocktail through the front door. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah, they were not taking.
That's based. I like it.
Oh yeah, man, they were serious about it.
Nice. Yeah, good.
So I go, all right. Well, I'm a new lieutenant. He says, all right. Well, we're doing a lot of work, so you just kind of stay out of the way, and we'll take care of business.
Okay.
So how do you answer that? Right? Okay, exactly. You can talk all the stories in the world, but the only thing that convinces a guy like Charlie is to see your actions.
Right.
I'm waiting for my chance to prove myself to Charlie Williams, And I remember we had a car run under another car right next to quarters, and we did like 4 or 5 bullshit runs all night. No fires. So Charlie's at the watch desk when I go out the next morning, And I says, Charlie, let me ask you a question here. How do you count things? You know, all that for.
Holy shit!
No, I'm telling you, we're busy. Oh, yeah, okay, Charlie. You know?
It's like the way the Hawaiians count waves, right? It's 1 foot is 1 foot overhead, right? That's how you were counting. Only Charlie was counting from the ground. Oh my God!
They were doing a lot of work, man. So
how long were you there for? It looks like you were there for a while. No, 87.
I was there for about a year. I was there. They lifted this lieutenant, and I was there filling his vacancy, and then they filled it. Donald Haid got the spot. I had put in for it, but didn't get it. So Don Haid got it.
Don Haid, never heard of him. Nope.
Yeah. So,
oh shit!
Fortunately for me, right at that same time, Howie Vanesky, lieutenant there, retired. So they just moved me from the group I was in to Howie's group. So I was there for about a year, and the next promotion transfer order was coming up, and I had put in for it again. But in the interim, Ray Downey called and said, "Listen, I got an opening in Rescue 2. Would you be interested?"
Shit!
So I'm like,
really?
I'm gonna. Yes.
Wait, did that come in the form of a burning bush? When he came down
Hold on,
with a white beard.
Chief Downey, let me think about it for a minute.
Yeah, it took about 2 seconds to think about it. Absolutely, yeah.
Did he even get it out? Did he say, hey, John, how do you think? Yes!
I didn't know because I had a car wreck, a real good car wreck, and 111 had a Hearst tool too. And we were first due when the rescue pulled up and Ray comes up, and I start basically, hey Cap, listen, can you get your tool? I need that done over there. Cut this over here. I don't think he was expecting that, so I didn't know how he handled that. This young lieutenant, telling him how to do the extrication. So,
Petey, we got a picture of the chief there. Yeah.
Look at that guy.
He must have baked that helmet in the kitchen.
I'm sure.
There was no ovens with that.
Smash right in the mush with that helmet.
Chief, I love you. No bullshit. That's,
Cheeseman said, "Chief, John, God is on the phone."
God is on the phone.
That's right. You know what the difference between God and a rescue captain is?
Nope.
God doesn't think he's a rescue captain.
So when he calls, is this you?
Did you ever find out?
Initially, I was expecting him to say something about this car wreck that we had.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell do you think you're talking to?
Man.
So when he asked me that, I was like, absolutely, But now I got to go to Frank Pampalone, who's the captain of 111, and saying I'm pulling my paper,
Yeah.
And I really love 111. I mean, they were top-notch firemen. I mean, guys like Richie Spatafora and Mike Leamy.
Was Dennis Murphy there when you were there?
Dennis was there, but then he went to the rescue before I did.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was there. Actually, we were pretty good friends. We talked, before I went to the rescue too. So he was there. Dennis Conway. I mean, really super guys, man. And they were doing a lot of work. They were, but they weren't doing what the rescue does. All the special stuff. So.
Did you ever find out what made Chief Downey call you, or did he talk to somebody about it?
Yeah, I had 3 people, 3 of my lieutenants, when I had been a fireman in Rescue 3, had all been Rescue 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Marty McTeague was a fireman in Rescue 2 for Ray. And at this point now, he's a captain in SOC. Pete Lund was a fireman in Rescue 2 for Ray and was my lieutenant. And Paul McFadden, who had been a lieutenant in Rescue 3 and had since transferred to Rescue 2. So I had 3 of the lieutenants telling him,
"Yeah, you got to get this guy.
He's a good guy. Actually, I wasn't his first choice. He wanted Jack Kleehouse back. Jack and I had gotten promoted at the same time.
He's actually in the chat. He's in the chat tonight. Love that guy.
Okay. Well, he would have been, he would have been the guy. But
our next
Bill
guest,
Feehan was the chief operations, and Bill was against guys going back to where they got promoted from. I wanted to go back to Rescue 3, and he wouldn't let it happen, He wouldn't let Jack go back to Rescue 2. So, that's the only reason. So,
hey, listen, if you got to be second fiddle to go to Rescue 2, who cares? That's what I say. I don't care. I wouldn't give a shit.
I'll be the bridesmaid.
I'll be the third guy. Listen, if I'm the fifth guy on the list, I don't care.
Holy shit. You cut your pinky toe off. But what year was
that?
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea, how it happened. I had no weight.
Ruffy, let me encapsulate this a little bit here, Ruffy. You ready? Okay, so let me see. You ready for this side? 290, 103. All right, goes up to Rescue 3. It's not first grade yet. Goes up to Rescue 3. Goes over to gets us 111. Is about to get the spot in 111, and God calls him. He said, whoa, hold on a minute. Not 111. You're coming over to 2. I need you in 2.
I didn't say he needed me. He did not need me. He gave me the opportunity.
It makes the story better. Don't.
What year is that, Coop?
Sheetrock.
89.
That's 89.
Wow.
89. We have a couple of pictures, Pete. Don't we? 8902, 9108.
Oh, I got it.
Show them.
They're already queued. Look at this bad boy right here.
What is that one? That the one where Milner got a medal in that one?
Yeah, Milner, Jerry Murphy, Chris Blackwell. I mean, they did a spectacular job.
When he got his medal, did you hear any of this? Was that playing?
Hey, Mikey Milner.
Mike Milner, is he in the chat?
Not tonight.
He's
probably doing his own podcast tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mike is absolutely spectacular guy. Mike was
the best
at the 3rd Avenue explosion. I had a lot of work with Mike. He was at that 3rd Avenue explosion where Rescue 3 got all the medals. Him, Mike Loftus. I mean, they were just tremendous guys. And in this case, they did a spectacular job. I mean, you talk about balls. This airplane is sinking.
Yep.
And the water is up to their chins, and they would not leave that woman.
Till that lady got out.
Yeah. And she was pinned because the plane split in half. You can see where the top came down on top of the bottom half there.
Yeah.
Jerry Murtha, Chris Blackwell. I mean, they did a tremendous job. But that night, that was early. That was September, I believe, of '89. So I had only been in the company about a month. And it was another one of those crazy stories. We had a spare rig. So that night, we had a job right at the start of tours. Maybe actually about 10 minutes before the official change of tours. Out in Dyker Heights, right by the golf course. And it's an ass-kicking Queen Anne that's all the way up, from the basement up into the attic. And we get our butts kicked. And Dennis Murphy's working. Lee Ielpe's the chauffeur. Al Washington, Bruce Howard, and Mike Penna. And Mike ends up getting hurt as he's trying to get up into the attic stairs. And he gets banged up. So now we get back to quarters. We got a spare rig, which is a pumper, because there are no spare rescue trucks left. We got a pumper and a chief's car. So all the gear is scattered all over the apparatus floor. And the dispatcher is supposed to tell us the nature of any special call, so we can try to pick the right tools up and put them in there.
Right.
And we hear, the voice alarm announces, 3rd alarm, box, I think it's box 69 at LaGuardia Airport. And Lee says, that's a crash box. So we start listening to the Queen's frequency, and they're reporting they got this jet off the runway into the East River. So Rescue 2 is one of the two scuba. Well, no, Rescue 5 was also a scuba unit. So Rescue 1, Rescue 5, and Rescue 2 are the scuba units. So I says, load up everything water related. You know, we're going to take it in. I know we can beat everybody else into the airport. So we start up there, and Mike Penna actually gets on the rig, even though he's supposed to be on medical leave. But he's one of my divers. You know, I have 3 divers working at night: Dennis Murphy, Bruce Howard, and Mike Penna. And we take it in. We get up there, and Rescue 3 and Rescue 4 and Haz Mat are actually out at the plane already. But now, as Lee is climbing down a ladder, a basically free swinging vertical ladder underneath the pier to launch our Switlick raft, so we can get people out of the water. There's, you know, the water is littered with debris and people hanging onto the debris, and we're going to try and get them out of the water. And as Lee's going down there, he says, "Lou, I hear people screaming in under the pier." So shit, okay. All my divers are already committed out to the plane. Rescue 1 and Rescue 5 aren't in yet, but I've got one of the exposure suits on, the cold water exposure suits. So I says, okay, I'll swim in. When Rescue 1 gets in, send their divers in to back me up. So I swim in there, and I'm expecting a typical wooden pier with cross members and, you know, pilings. There's none of that. This is built on like 4-foot diameter concrete piers spaced about every 10 feet. And I hear these people screaming, but it's pitch black inside there as far as you can see. So I swim in, and I finally get there, and who do I find but a raft full of ESU cops? Their raft is leaking and sinking. And I'm like, okay, you know, what's the problem, you know? And
Swing and a miss, he struck him out.
one guy says, "I will go to the bottom like a rock. I've got 3 guns and a heavy bulletproof vest on." Get your gun belt.
He just said, "What the fuck you doing in the water for then?"
So we end up holding on to the pier. I go around to the backside now and swim in and hold on to their hands at the outside edges. And Hashagan comes in, and
Who?
he's
Never
in
heard of
scuba
him.
gear. So we
Petey.
get them. Dennis Murphy comes in with our raft, but their problem was they didn't think about the current. There's a pretty strong current through there.
Yeah.
So when Dennis came in, Lee had tied a rope around our raft so they could pull us back out to the outside edge of the pier. But they had nothing, you know, so the current was just pushing them in, bouncing them off the barnacles, punching holes in their raft.
So you thought you were saving, you know,
I
people
thought
on
it was
the
going in
plane.
for civilians.
Oh, we had to save you guys. Oh, are you okay? You know, Ruffy, at all the times we worked with Pat Murphy, I don't think he ever told us that he was at that
No,
job.
I'm thinking the same thing. I don't think
Like,
he ever
holy
did.
crap. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was and then now we get back to quarters after that, and you know, you got to decon everything because there's jet fuel, and you know, you're in polluted water the whole place. So we got to decon all that. We're just about getting ready to head for bed. It's like 4:00 in the morning, and we get a box, Nostrand Avenue and Herkimer Street. And I'm like, oh man, that's a bad box. We get there, it turns out to be a third alarm. We are, oh man, we are. And we're
So that
down
was one of your
out
toughest
because
nights,
Penna's
right?
on medical leave. So we're up there. It's a row of frames,
Oh my goodness gracious!
heavy fire, and it was one of the crack dealers that was getting burned out because the place, the original fire store, was steel plated from the inside, you know, old typical crack house. And we got fire on 3 floors on arrival, going down both exposures. We're up there pulling ceilings. I'm not pulling ceilings, but you know, we're up there.
Pull that.
Dennis Murphy.
You were pointing. Hey, get that over there, will you?
Exactly. The laser hook. You know? So we go up into exposure 2. We go to 2A. We're up in 2B. This, we're chasing this thing, trying to get ahead of it. And we come down now, and I go over to the deputy, and he says, "Okay, take a break. Take a break." And I come back over to the boys and tell them, "All right, we're going to take a break." Dennis Murphy says, "Lou, if you would come back over here and said, we got to go pull more ceilings, I think my arms would have fallen off." They were just beat up, man.
Yeah, man, that's something.
You said that was one of your toughest nights, right, Chief?
That was one of my toughest nights, not in terms of the numbers of fires or anything like that, but man,
yeah,
constant work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
I had asked you in the pre-show, I don't know how many guys have, but I mean, you worked you were assigned to 3 different rescues. I asked you where you thought you saw the most fire duty. And you said, hands down, Rescue 2, just because they had a lot of first 2 fire duty, right?
They had a lot of first 2 fires. Like I said, they were right between 111 truck and 123. Very, very busy neighborhood. They got good access out to Brownsville, good access into Flatbush. It was a great, great spot at a very busy time in the department's history.
Mm-hmm.
And my first winter there was there was something else going on that we didn't realize at the time until we started putting 2 and 2 together. We had 31 multiples in about 21 days. And I mean a lot of heavy duty 4th and 5th alarms. There was a new process had been invented in knitting mills, in like sewing factories and stuff, where computer aided stuff made nice designs. And a lot of the businesses in New York had invested very heavily in that technology. And all of a sudden, about 6 weeks after everybody got their new machines in, it was obsolete because a newer technology came along that made that look absolutely shabby. So the businesses decided to have their going out of business fires. We're talking about big knitting mills, man. So yeah, that month, December of '89, and it was cold, man. It went, I want to say on December 8th was when the real cold started. And it went like a lot of nights down around 0 or negative temperatures, which is, for us, that's cold.
Oh yeah, you're gonna keep work.
What do you call? Look, you had a name for that in the book when the winter comes.
Offensive. Yeah.
The winter offensive, right?
That was the winter offensive, man. That was, like I said, 31 multiples, most of it in a 3-week period. A lot of heavy duty work, plus about 50 all hands or better. I mean, it was a lot of work.
Wow.
And
that is.
I mean, we almost. Oh man, it was the closest I ever. I thought I lost guys. I thought I lost Dennis Mojica and Larry Weston and Mikey Esposito. I mean, it was a lot of real hairy stuff going on. Collapses that narrow escapes, man. So.
We get lucky for sure, right?
Sometimes it's luck, and I don't know. Sometimes I think it's God's, just saying, you dopes, you paid for this lesson already. What are you doing?
Yeah. When it's your time, it's your time. If it's not your time,
it
ain't your time. Yeah. Petey, we have a couple more in there.
Of the rescue?
Yeah, we had a couple. Where's my
Pete Martin, John Barbagallo, Tony Errico became a lieutenant Rescue 1, then went back to Rescue 2. Billy Ewitson, and that's Connie Tinney on the right. He's detailed from Rescue 3. What a cast, what a crew that was, man.
Yeah.
Some tough guys.
And then we had a couple more in there, Pete, after that one, I believe. You have where is that?
That's Barbagallo's last tour. That's myself on the left, then Mickey McDonald, John Barbagallo I'm leaning on. It's John's last tour. The last fire. We're just finishing a 4th alarm right down the street. The tower ladders are behind us.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Dave Van Vost, Mikey Esposito, and Pete Bondi. Man, oh man,
Pete
what
Bondi.
guys?
How much time did that guy that you said it's his last tour? I've never heard his name before, actually.
Oh, Barbagallo, John did 33 years. He was another Sheffield Avenue alumnus, actually. He started in Sheffield Avenue, and they weren't doing as much as he wanted. So he went up to 58 engine, which at the time was, tremendous fire duty. That's where he met Ray Downey, and he was Ray's chauffeur. So when Ray got Rescue 2, John came back and joined Rescue 2.
Yeah, that's how that works, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know the guys you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did about 33 years there.
He never saw any fire either, huh?
No.
103, Rescue 2.
Nope.
Holy shit.
Amazing. Can you imagine?
The fucking 60s, 70s, and 80s. Can you imagine?
When he came out, he would always make a point of going up to the newest Proby he saw in the, everybody standing around. He'd just kind of sidle up next to him and go, psst. Hey, kid, want to switch hats? Look at him, this grizzled old veteran. He says, I would give anything to be wearing a Proby helmet again.
No shit.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Wouldn't we all, right?
Is he still around?
No, John died about 10 years ago.
No shit.
What a shame. What a shame. Pete, we got another one in there with 9305.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's going there
John
too, right?
Cannon.
Oh, Sal Civitello. Look at Sal.
Sal Civitello.
Sal Civitello. Yeah.
Mikey Esposito. That's Louis Valentino.
It is him.
The cutting torch. It's one of his first tours there in Rescue 3, and we're going to do a drill. That's an impalement drill. We're going to, Mikey's on the fence there, and we're going to show Louis how to use the torch to cut, within 3 inches of the guy without injuring him on the steel. And then Billy Hewitson on the right. So, yeah.
Who's got his back to us? That's not Jimmy Sanders, is it? Who is that?
No, Louis Valentino.
No, all the way on the left. All the way on the left.
Oh, John Cannon.
Oh, okay.
John Cannon was another lieutenant in Rescue 1 afterwards. He was a Rescue 5 guy, came to Rescue 2, got promoted, and went to Rescue 1. He got out of Rescue 1 just a couple of weeks before the World Trade Center.
Huh. Now, were you already on the captain's list when you went there? You took the captain's test when you were in 2?
No, I think I took the test while I was there. Yeah.
Yeah? You couldn't see yourself spending the rest of your career in 2?
That's one of my regrets. I was very naive. I'm very naive. I looked at Ray Downey, and, the captain, he does the same shifts as the lieutenants, but he makes a lot more money. So I said, hey, I thought he was just like, okay, I could be a captain too. I'm being a lieutenant. I could be a captain and make more money. So I took the captain's test, and it is what it is.
If you had to do it all over again, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great ride the whole way. I mean, everything was different at each position.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need something.
Responsibilities different. But, if I had known then what I know now, I don't know. Listen, if I had stayed in Rescue 2,
you might not be
or Rescue 1, I might not be here.
Right. Things happen for a reason. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Rescue 1 in particular, my groups, Terry Hatton was my replacement.
Right. Huh. All right. So speaking of which, 93. So you spent a good amount of time. Great volume of fire there in Rescue 2. 93, you get promoted captain. You cover in the 15th Division a little, and then you go to the old Car 13 David, which was SOC before SOC. And then what happens? 2 weeks? 2 weeks, and then disbanded it?
I was there about 3 weeks, and they disbanded it. Absolutely.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Hey, John, welcome to Car 13. All right. Hey, John, take it easy. We'll see you. We're
Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
going in a different direction, John. I don't know.
Well, it worked out for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, in honesty, it really wasn't a wise setup. I mean, they had captains doing what battalion chiefs needed to be doing,
Right.
but the city was trying to save money. And it was a new idea at the time. So they piloted it. And listen, who did they have in 13D? You had Ray Downey, you had Brian O'Flaherty, you had Charlie Driscoll from Rescue 5. They had all these heavy duty guys who could walk up to a battalion or a deputy chief and say, we should be doing this.
Right.
But then those guys got promoted, and that's how I ended up there. And it didn't have the same clout.
So did Downey get promoted? Did Downey get promoted before you or after you?
Yeah, before me.
All right, so he was out of Rescue 2. Who took his spot while you were there then?
Jimmy Elson was there, UFO, for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Did
think
Captain Rubelo get there?
no, it was Jay Fischler.
Oh, Fisher.
I was
right,
the
right,
Fischler.
right,
We got to get that. We keep trying to get that guy on the show. I swear to God, every time. Well,
Every
you
time
were
I
there.
talk
You
to
were
him.
there.
Every time I
You're
talk
right.
to him, he says, "Talk to my agent."
Yeah. All right.
That's
All right. So you go for a very short time at 13, David, and then but in '94, you get assigned to Rescue 1. So give us a little background on how that happened.
Wow. It was a bad thing. It was a real bad thing. Jimmy Rogers was the captain of Rescue 1. And I was doing the relief group now. After they disbanded 13 David, I went into the relief group in SOX. I was covering the 5 rescues in Squad 1, which was the great thing. Man, I love that spot. But then Downey calls. Downey is now the chief of rescue operations, or maybe special operations at that point. But Jimmy Rogers is in the hospital dying of cancer. He says, I'm putting you into Rescue 1. So, it was that was October, and Jimmy was probably dead within about 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's like a bittersweet thing for you, man. You get Rescue 1, but
that was not the way you wanted it.
No, definitely not. Pete, I think we got a couple of photos there. 9501, 9502.
Boom.
Yeah,
That's
that's down on the Lower East Side. That's Neil Fredrickson on the left, myself, Stan Cecina, and Joe Angelini in the back.
Oh,
he looked
shit.
the same for like 30 years, right? Same.
Yeah.
Same look. Does he got a cigarette in his hand?
I was just going to say the same thing. I don't see the cigarette. What's the cigarette in his hand?
Probably in his mouth. He's turned away.
Yeah.
What, no gloves on, right? No gloves.
Oh, yeah. You had to order Joey to put his gloves on. That was Joey, man, oh, man. There's
this one.
Well, obviously, that's the presidential helicopter, which Rescue 1 stands by whenever the president or any of the dignitaries comes into town by helicopter. So there's, I think that's Cliff Stabner on the left, Joey, Lloyd Infazone, Tommy Baker, myself, and Hash Hagen. Yeah.
Oh, there's the Hash. Cliff was a funny guy, man. Wasn't Cliff Stabner a funny guy? Or still
Cliff was a good guy, man. He wasn't too funny around me. He's still new in the company. So.
Yeah, I thought he was a funny guy, man.
Oh, he was.
Trying to
but
be,
around me,
impressed the captain.
Still...
Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure you weren't fucking funny in front of Heavy D. You know what I mean?
No. Shit
Hey,
myself,
Cap,
bro.
what's going on? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
shaking in your freaking boots.
Yeah. I think you got a 9712 there too, Pete.
Yeah, I got you, brother. Love it when these are labeled. Very good.
Hey, Joe must have been in your groups. And Hashhagen for crying out loud.
Yeah. Oh, I kept Joey right next to me. Absolutely. Hash was my chauffeur. And Joey was right next to me. You had to keep him next to you as the captain because he would run roughshod over lieutenants. Joey, I mean, tremendous. I mean, he had 41 years on the fire department. He had 20 years in one truck, Tower Ladder 1, before he came to Rescue 1.
Right.
And now he's been in Rescue 1 for 20 years.
That's
so
crazy, man.
The man has been there and done that and seen everything.
Yeah.
In Manhattan.
But he was in Manhattan, you know, but you had to watch him like a hawk because he was always getting himself someplace. Whereas the captain, you didn't want him to be. And if it was just a mere lieutenant, you know, they didn't have the nerve to call him out on it.
Yeah.
So we had a fire one time out on a pier on the west side of Manhattan. It was all the way out, like 1,000-foot long pier. And it's just like 3 string pieces and 2 pilings burning right at the edge of the pier. And it's like I said, it's 1,000-foot stretch for the engine. So I says, you know what, Chief? 9th Battalion's there. I think it's Joe Grasso. I said, Chief, how about I put a couple of guys in the cold water suits. We'll take the chainsaw down there and we'll just cut this stuff off and drop it into the river. He says, okay, sounds like a good plan. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to do. Joey, get the saw. Paul Baldwin, I had in the exposure suit. There was a timber float right out there. We're going to be able to get down on this float. We're going to be able to operate the saw. Very careful, nice, you know. So we're still plotting this, talking about it.
Uh-oh.
I hear the saw start up. And
I got a bad feeling.
I'm looking at Grasso, the battalion chief, and I see horror in his eyes. Turn around and look. This is Joey sitting on the top of one of the burning pilings with the chainsaw. This is a big saw. I mean, this is a 30-inch saw. Between his legs, cutting the burning piling that he's sitting on.
With a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Joey, put the saw down. Stop, Joey. Stop. What, Cap? What's the matter? I said, Joey, I got Paul in the suit for a reason. Give Paul the saw, you know. And he's like, oh, I can do this part, right? No, Joe, let's let Paul have, you know, a bit of work. We had another.
Meanwhile, the guy's 60 years old, too, by the way.
Oh, this is a
60-year-old man. This is not a 25-year-old guy.
No. We had another fire. We had a fire on 58th Street, I think, in a restaurant. It's on the ground floor of a 6-story brick, you know. And restaurant fires, they hit the kitchen and up the ductwork it goes.
Yep.
And if it's in a brick and wood joist building, that ductwork runs all the way up and it's igniting the floors on every floor all the way up to the building. So we get in, I think it's 23 engine, has the line. They do a great job, knock the fire down. But now we get back and there's heavy fire, had been heavy fire in the kitchen. So I said, all right, we got to find the duct, the shaft that goes up. And we're looking at, okay, I find it. But now you got to follow that duct. You can't just call on the radio and say, okay, we got a duct fire going up. Somebody who has seen where the duct is needs to go and point out to all the truck companies, this is where it is. Saves time trying to hunt this thing down. So I take another guy, I forget who it was now, take a guy with me. We go upstairs and we, you know, it's the second or third alarm at this point. Plenty of help. Point out to the trucks. Okay, it's over here. It's over there. All right, they do a great job. Come back down. And I'm looking around. All right, things look under control here. Where's Joey? And nobody will answer. Where's Joey? Nobody will look me in the eyes. I mean, it just, finally, one of the engine guys goes like, he's over there. And I look, there's an 1 3/4 line, goes up onto the stove and disappears up into the hood.
He's climbing up the shaft.
He's up inside the hood, which is covered in grease
and shit.
System powder. So I look up, and there's his boots. Is all I can see is his boots. Joey. Yeah, Cap. Joey.
Yeah, Cap.
And the water is pouring down. Water. He's got a line up there. He's operating the nozzle up the shaft, pouring down on him. Joey, come on down out of there now.
It's like a kid. It's like a 60-year-old kid.
No, Joe. It's good. Come on down. You know. He comes down. Man, he is covered in grease.
Smells like Chinese food.
Powder, and it is everywhere on him. And I'm like, oh my God.
And what does he do?
Lights up a
Oh,
cigarette.
lights up.
Thank
Watch
God.
out. Oh my God. Dude,
What a
that guy
guy, man.
was incredible.
You talking about heart.
Yeah.
Right there, man. More heart than any 10 men that I knew of.
Yeah. Now we've talked about this in the past with other guys, Chief. The guys who worked in Brooklyn and then went to one. They always say basically the same thing, but I want your take on it. Like, you know, there were definitely more fires in Brooklyn, but when you go to one, the fires are, you know, crazy. You don't know what you're getting. Ruffy loves subcellars, or you're getting large open, you know, and the fires are like crazy. I mean, is that what your same perspective? Basically?
Absolutely. I mean, Manhattan, especially the west side of Manhattan where Rescue One is, they've got everything. Rear tenements, old law tenements, new law tenements, big warehouses, piers, high-rise office buildings. I mean, and then, you know, Brian O'Flaherty, when I first got there, Brian had been a captain in Rescue One for, you know, about 10 years, but he'd gotten promoted. So when I got to Rescue One, he gave me some advice. He says, you know, the further south in Manhattan you go, you got to remember the way the city was developed. You know, you got buildings that are 300 years old down there. He says, if you go south of 23rd Street, watch your ass. If you go south of Canal Street, hang on to your ass with both hands.
Yes.
It's
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
All those lofts, right? All the lofts and chamber. Oh my! There's so many different types of buildings, man. That anything could happen.
I had one of the loft fires. We had a whole series of loft fires there. George Leonard from Ladder 6 was killed there.
Yeah. That was a subcellar.
Yeah, the subcellar fire. And actually, Hank played a big role at that. He went, I believe, down into the air shaft. Bruce Newberry, they got Leonard out into the backyard, and they called for a resuscitator. And the guy up at street level, which is 2 stories above, dropped the resuscitator down, and Bruce caught it. And that's what broke Bruce's hips.
Wow.
Yeah, those are hairy fires, man.
Yeah.
So,
Great line here in the chat, and it's coming from Gabe Fox, and he says, I once heard a Manhattan chief say, we don't have a lot of fires, but when we do, we name them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a fifth alarm with Hank, as a matter of fact, at 30 Rockefeller Center.
Oh wow!
And man, I thought we were going to lose the whole building. You know, I think it's a 70-story high-rise.
Yeah,
we had fire on multiple floors. We were out of air. We went in with our bottles, went through them, and we don't have the fire, you know, halfway under control. It's an electrical fire that is burning everywhere on multiple floors. All the electrical conduits on multiple floors are roaring. And it's that PVC smoke, which just is killing us.
Oof.
So, yeah, I mean, actually, Hank and I ended up on a line because there was no engines around. We're hunting fire and finding it. And we stretch a house line off the standpipe, and we're there. And you know, fire's coming up through these conduit chases. And we know now we're on like our 4th floor that we've been hunting this fire down. And Hank says something like, I think we might have to blow the tanks. Oh no, I said it. That's right. You know, talking about the Towering Inferno movie.
So you're sitting there in the middle of a fire, quoting fire movies. Okay.
So Hank says, "Oh yeah, well I ain't walking 50 more stories, and I don't like explosives. So fuck you, Steve."
Holy shit!
Fuck you, Steve McQueen. Hey.
That's awesome. Oh my god!
Shit, yeah.
Oh,
Did Hank give you this one?
I was doing it.
I was up there doing it.
I was doing it. Yeah.
All right.
He was up there doing it.
What picture do we leave off, Pete?
I don't know, but you know, I was going to ask you because we're getting in the weeds, right? So, did we want to go two-parter, or do we want to?
Nah, because we're almost through. No, we got to keep going, bro.
Because you know, 9/11's a big one, and I don't want to forget to ask about that.
That's totally up to the chief. I'll go as long as he wants to go. Unless he wants to do a two-parter.
I'm ready.
That's up to you. I'm good.
I'm easy. It's up to you.
I heard that about you, Chief. Let's go. Yeah. All right, let's go with where were we, Petey? What do we
1998-08. So we were okay.
Oh, this is with
Yeah, 1998-08. So here we go. Stand by. Boom.
Oh, look at that who's who. Holy crap. That is a who's
There's a
who.
couple
Brothers,
of goats over there.
Gansey,
Holy
Brothers
shit.
Gansey, Downey. That's insane.
I'm so glad I added that tonight.
Jimmy Keenan is the battalion chief there next between Gansey and Carruthers. He was used to be the captain of 41. So
where is this out of? Where was this picture taken?
That's at 4 Times Square. It was the collapse. You guys probably spent some time.
Yeah, we were there. I remember that. Chief, we were staying,
actually, I have a picture from 270 up on the top there with Jimmy Earl and Tommy Bone.
Yeah, we stayed on the top floor like overnights. You know, we did it for a couple of weeks.
That's when first. Yeah, that's when we first came online, right, Roof?
Yep.
That's correct.
Yep.
Remind me to send you that picture. I just found a couple of those pictures today. Like I say, 270 up on the top there.
I saw the ones from 288 when you were covering there. I saw those. Those are pretty cool with Brian Sweeney and
I said those over to Pete. Yeah. Pete, go over to 98 08A. Oh, we had that guy on. We just recently had that guy on.
Yeah. I think that might have been the night Vinny talked me into taking a battalion chief's promotion.
Probably. Big study right there.
I didn't, when I took the test, I hadn't been assigned yet. So I wanted to go to a rescue company, but, there's no guarantee of that.
Right.
So I took the battalion chief's test kind of out of self-defense. And when my number came up, I was really seriously considering turning it down. And Vinny came down off duty and said, "Listen, come on up to the office. We got to talk." And he basically talked me into taking the chief's promotion because he guilted me into it.
I was going to say, what was his line? How do you hit you with that? Like, you got to leave rescue one.
Don't you think you need to look at your career? Look at the places you've worked. Don't you think you owe the job something for having had that career?
He hit you with the job, man. That's heavy.
Yeah. Well, he was right. I mean, I could never have envisioned having been in any of those positions, and
well, take it back to what you said when you said you passed Rescue 4 and you said, can you imagine if we ever got on and we got paid for this? Because if I told you the places you would have been and the companies you would have been in, you would have said, stop lying. No way. Right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I could have never, ever envisioned the career that I had. I just had no way that could happen to me. I would never be that lucky. So
I don't know if it's anything to do with luck, but
it's a little bit of luck, but mostly
it's being a good fireman. It's
that's it. Absolutely.
It's being a good leader. If you weren't a good fireman, you wouldn't have got chosen from one of those other places. Downey wouldn't
be calling you. Right, exactly.
or Cassani wouldn't have called you to come up. to
But you
Rescue
need a little
3.
bit of luck when people, unfortunately,
Yeah.
they come out of the spots and the spots
If
open
Steve
up.
Cassani hadn't gotten to 290,
Right. It's all luck.
Right.
Some stuff.
But maybe you would have stayed in 103 and you would have been a fireman in Rescue 2. Who knows?
I would have stayed in the engine. I would have stayed in 290 for the most part. I had one.
You think?
Yeah, well, I love 290. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, there were great firemen there. I love putting fire out, man. Nozzle's
Yeah.
a great job,
Yeah.
But when Steve left, his replacement was the anti-Steve.
Really? In
That-
90?
Yeah. And that said, if this guy can be a lieutenant, I can be a lieutenant.
There's a lot that goes around a lot. I mean, a
You
lot
know,
of times.
I was saying the same thing about Roofy one day. I was like, if Roofy can be a lieutenant.
Oh my God.
No.
Hey, Chief,
No.
I got a question for you. So,
He ain't lying.
you worked hard, you became a chief, right? But there's a difference obviously between chief and lieutenant. Lieutenants, like, you're still out there with the men in a different way than as chief, right? Did you feel that did you miss that feeling of being with the men in that way, or did you just take on the new role and embrace it?
Well, as a battalion chief, I kept at it. I tried to keep up, the relationship with the firefighters. I mean, I was so lucky again. I was, assigned to 16th Battalion with, spectacular companies, 69, 59, 80 engine, 23, 28, and 30 truck. I mean, I had Jimmy McCluskey, EJ Tierney working for me, Jimmy Kane, Bobby Morris, absolutely spectacular people. And I, said, okay, listen, I want to, stay with these guys. I want to help teach. I want to help train, So I tried to do that as a battalion chief. Now, after 9/11, that was off the table. When I was basically a desk commando, it was a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a different way of approaching the job, I guess, but still important, just different.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we gotta
listen, every step of the way, every promotion or transfer is always different. And there's always, a little nervousness. Am I going to be able to do this? Like I say, going to 290. Okay. When I started to find out who they are, I'm like, oh man, this is a tough place. Going to 111 as a lieutenant, again, tough place, man. They put a captain out of the job there. They chased an assigned captain out of the company there. That was a tough place on bosses.
Had to be a new boss. Like you didn't
Yeah.
go in there with 10 years as a boss. You went in there with 10 days as a boss.
Yeah, and less than 10 years on the job.
Right.
from Upper Manhattan, no less.
Yeah.
Upper Manhattan.
And I don't know if you know that they do 4 jobs a night there. I don't know if you know that.
That's funny. I did.
No,
I had-
Kev, 5.
Oh, 5
Yeah,
jobs
4
a
to
night,
5,
right?
4 to 5. I
Incorrect.
had 9 years. 9 years as lieutenant, and I maybe had a couple of months when I first went to 290. And I told you, Freddie Gallagher, unfortunately, I just found out he passed away today. But he was my chauffeur in 103. He did. He just passed away today. But so as soon as I got in I got in the kitchen, and he's like, "Hey, Lou, you're working here?" He said, "Yeah." He's like, "Where'd you work?" So I says, "Oh, I was in 117 and I was in 288 as a fireman." He's like, "Oh, good. So you haven't been to any fires?" You know what I mean? Like, it was just like a perfect, it was just constant fighting, constant, you had to have tough skin. Otherwise you weren't making it, especially as a young boss there,
All right. So don't answer this one right away. Think about it for a second. If you could go back, just like the guy said, where he wanted to switch helmets, if you could switch helmets right now and go back to any point in your career, where would you go?
Probably lieutenant in rescue too.
Yeah.
Oh, bingo.
Yeah, I mean,
If you ask me where I was going for his career, that's where I was going.
If you asked me where I wanted to be in Chief Norman's career, I want to be Lieutenant of Rescue too.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
It was, well, first off, you got to be young to do that. That's another thing. I mean, that is a physical place. So I don't know, I couldn't do it at this stage of my life, but
Right.
that was,
Well, maybe with the laser hook, you could have done it.
Wow.
yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed every one of those places. I learned something at every one of those places, but for the most fun, really, that was incredible amount of fires. I
Got to
mean,
be the most exciting. I mean, it's got to be. If you love going to fire, that's it. That's
And
the
you're,
place right there.
for lack of a better term, you're walking amongst giants, right?
Oh,
I mean,
I'm out
no,
of
it really,
juice.
it really is true.
I'm empty. too. Look at
He's
that.
done. 1 and out. That's it. Good.
That's
Chief. I'm
fine.
drinking water.
All right, PD, let's go. So we did. You have the one from Battalion 16, photo 200101.
Yeah, I was just gonna throw that up. Boom.
Oh, there he is.
yeah, that's actually over in the Bronx.
I was going to say, that doesn't look like Manhattan buildings.
No, that's the 7th alarm in a row of frames that we burned down 14 buildings. So,
Beautiful. Great job.
As Joe
Me,
Myself would
okay.
say, we didn't do too good there.
we did great there. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. The fire building was vacant, but everything on the entire row was occupied on both sides. We didn't have any civilians killed. We didn't have any real serious injuries. So I call that one a win. Actually,
Yeah, no doubt.
I was supposed to be the staging area coordinator there. That's why I got the clipboard.
Nice.
Oh.
I was down at the corner at the staging area, and Gansey pulls up on, I guess, the 4th alarm. He said, "What the hell are you doing here?" I says, "I'm a staging area coordinator." He says, get your mask on, get your ass over here, and meet me at the command post." So that's how I ended up.
Drop the clipboard.
Patty Lee said, "Thank God for corners."
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
that's
we
funny.
weren't so lucky at the church next to your house, Pat. Sorry.
And neither were his trash cans.
Never were those trash cans. All right, so let's talk about the one here that I remember you when I actually my first there it is. My first contact with you in September 13, 2001, you did designated as the WT Search and Rescue Manager as well as the Chief of Special Operations. And that's the photo right there.
I didn't know I was the chief of special operations at the time. Frank Carruthers was the fire department incident commander, and I had come down because this was my first day of vacation. Well, actually, this picture is not the 13th, but my first day of vacation. So I'm not committed for 3 weeks. So when I get to the World Trade Center site, I get a couple of jobs, get assigned to a couple of jobs, but then I come back to the command post and I meet Chief Carruthers, and he says, "When do you do back at work?" And I says, "Not for 3 weeks." He says, "Okay, good. Consider yourself assigned here for the duration of the event." Okay. Now, a couple of days go by. It's 2 days later, and they finally have a meeting. I thought it was at headquarters, but now I'm thinking that it was actually at 26 Federal Plaza. We borrowed the FBI office, or one of the federal government offices over there. And after the meeting, Carruthers comes out and says, "Oh, congratulations, you got Ray Downey's job," which at the time we're talking about search and rescue at the World Trade Center site, like the FEMA coordinator and, that kind of jobs. That's what I thought it was talking about. And then later on, I found out he was talking about, oh, yes, that and, Chief of Special Operations. So, we didn't know Ray was dead at the time. We didn't know so many of those guys were dead. They
Right.
were missing. We were still hunting. I mean, we thought for weeks that, hey, these are some of the best collapse rescue people in the world. If anybody can survive, they'll find a void or something.
Right.
Guys like, like Jake Jonas did and his company. So we had a lot of hope that there might be other survivors somewhere in that mess.
Yeah.
And it was only, okay, afterwards that we have to move on. And they said, okay, you got special operations and got to live with it.
Yeah. I said this to you a little bit in the pre-show, Chief. My first interaction, I mean, I knew who you were, but my first interaction with you, we happened to be down there at the time. I don't know if you just had recently found out that you were in charge of special operations, but you gathered all the SOC companies, and it was right around, I remember it was a one of those grapplers, those pickers, whatever, and you had like an impromptu meeting letting everybody know that you were now the chief of SOC, and you gave this, I don't even know if you remember this, you gave this inspirational speech, and I was like, holy shit, I thought I was sitting in front of Vince Lombardi or something at halftime. It was like, I swear to God, I walked away, I was like, holy shit, that was like, because it was such a down, like you said, we hoped that our guys would be around, but we lost our whole company, so everybody was kind of, it's really depressing type of a time.
I don't remember a word about it. I wish I could.
I'll never forget it, Chief. You had gathered us all around. You gave this inspirational speech. I was like, wow, kind of picked everybody up and gave us like new life to go back in there and start looking for our guys. So
had to be done. Got to do it.
Yeah.
I remember Chief Siegel too, right? Chief Siegel was there with you. I remember you, him. There was a couple
Siegel,
other guys.
Jack Spillane. Well,
Spillane.
Siegel and Spillane were the only two survivors from the rescue battalion.
That's who I remember mostly at the site, seeing those guys most of the time.
We lost Charlie.
Charlie Casper. Yep.
Charlie Casper. Oh man. Yeah.
Who was the little guy again? Who was the short guy? Well, who was the chief too? We lost.
John Paolillo.
Oh, Paolillo. Right. Yep.
Paolillo, Moran, Downey,
Moran,
Jack Fanning.
Fanning. I told that story about Fanning. Like, I remember when he came, he was like the chief of Haz Mat, and I was just like, look at this guy. Like, where does this guy work?
Yeah.
Until I looked where he fucking worked. I was embarrassed of myself. Like, I could not even shine that man's shoes.
You wanted to kick the shit out of yourself. You're like,
I was so embarrassed of myself. Like, oh my God. Just because he went to Haz Mat, you know what I mean? As the Haz Mat chief, but was
Jack
guy
came to Haz Mat right as I was getting ready to go back to Rescue 3. And he was captain of Haz Mat, and I almost considered pulling my paper just to work with Jack.
With him,
really?
Right?
Wow.
A great guy.
And there's Ruffy poo-pooing away. Oh, look at this guy.
No, I mean that was early on.
All right.
You don't know a guy's background. Right. I mean, until you look in and say, "Hey, he's paid his dues, man."
Right.
Right.
Incredible.
You don't know.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Did you want to talk about your boys a little bit, there, Chief?
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I got 3 great sons, and we've been lucky, man. Lucky
knock on wood.
family. I've got 5 grandsons, so I love them all to death. We babysit them, but my two of my sons, all 3 of them, followed the family bloodline and became volunteer firefighters in town here. And 2 of them got on the fire department in New York. And again, lucky guys.
Where are they working now, Chief?
John's a lieutenant in Squad 270. And Connor, the youngest, is a fireman in Ladder 120. And
John's
before you ask,
guy, man, I like John a lot.
I'm not saying nothing.
Everybody says it. Kevin, everybody assumes that there's some weight or hooks or something like that. And I had absolutely nothing to do with picking any assignments or anything like that. I learned a good lesson, which this is a good one I'll share with you. Back, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe a long time ago anyway, I was at headquarters for something, and I'm standing outside the chief of personnel's office, Gus Francis, and I'm waiting to talk to him, but he's on the phone with somebody else who must have been trying to tell him where to put his son. And I could only hear one side of the conversation, but it was very, very, important conversation. And basically, Gus he said, "Don't tell me where to put your son." He says, "Give me an idea where he lives, what kind of, unit he wants to work in, and I'll make the decision where he goes."
Right.
That way, God forbid anything bad ever happens, you don't blame yourself for sending him there.
I never even thought about that.
Wow.
Man, that was great advice. I took that very, very seriously. When John was in Proby school, one of the instructors in Proby school was from 30 Truck. I was a battalion chief in the 16th Battalion. I love 30 Truck. I mean, EJ and Jimmy Mack, and I mean, all those guys, Keith Nicoliella. I mean, Grogan, such top-notch firemen. I love them all. But 30 Truck has an in Proby school. So they tell John, okay, we're going to get you to 30 Truck. I don't have anything to do with it. Okay. So I'm working at headquarters. I'm a staff chief at that point. I come down, get into work at about 6:45 in the morning. And we used to meet in Joe Ramos's office before the workday started. And we're sitting in there, and somebody says, "Oh, congratulations." And I'm like, "Congratulations on what?" He says, "Your son went to 111. 111? I thought he was going to 30 Truck.
30 Truck.
I said, they both did exceptionally well in their Proby school, in their Proby class. And, when you are the top couple of guys in a Proby school, you get your choice of assignment, which
true.
I think is a great tool.
Yeah.
It's a great incentive to get guys to work hard. So they did, and, they ended up in great places.
Chief, what's this deal? What's this story about a couch? Something about a couch.
So a little bird called me and said, "How did you teach Pat not to play with matches first?" That's the first one.
Okay, you want to do that one first?
Yeah, just do that one first.
Well, my middle son, Patrick, we were just having, typical 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid stuff. And I find burnt matches out in the backyard. Who's been playing with matches? Well, it turns out it was my son, Patrick. Okay, let me show you what happened. So I took some of his clothes and created a scarecrow out in the backyard and lit a match and threw it at the clothes, and the clothes go up in a ball of flame. There was some special effects added to make it
I was
sure.
gonna say, but the lesson.
That cured him of playing with matches. Absolutely. It's all fun and games until somebody puts an eye out, but
yeah, no doubt about that.
that was, okay.
And then the other one
Sure
was
way
your
of
son.
getting the point across.
Yeah.
And the other one was your son got stuck in the couch. That's somebody else told us about that one.
Yeah, that was another one. I'm working that day too. I'm working in Rescue 1. So I'm, captain in Rescue 1. I come home from work, finish my 24. I was 24. I remember coming home, and everybody else is having dinner, but they're very, very subdued, very quiet. And I'm like, what's going on here? And nobody will talk to me. Nobody is like fessing up. I know something's up. What's going on?
You thought maybe Joe Angelini had the hose up in there because nobody's telling you what's going on.
That kind of atmosphere. So, all right, come on. What's going on? So my wife finally says, we had an incident today. I'll show you. come downstairs. Okay. We had just finished the cellar of the new house we had moved into, and there is a hole in one of the walls into my office.
Oh.
Okay. That's not the worst of it.
Ah.
The new couch, a fold-out couch that we put down there, is in pieces. Enlighten me. How did this happen? Well, my son John, who was about 8 at the time, has friends over, and they're all downstairs, and they had the fold-out couch open. And they're watching TV, and they're all up on the couch, and everybody's having a good old time. But John is a big kid. He's very big for his age. He's laying across the couch so that nobody else can really sit against the back, and he's not moving. So the two younger ones decide, let's see what happens if we fold the couch up
With him on it.
On in it.
with him on it. And it does. And when it lifts up, you pass that breakover point, and all of a sudden it's boom, and it slams closed with him in between the mattress. And he's stuck inside there. And now he and I'm at work. So the two of them, my wife is upstairs cooking, and the two of them come up, and there's another child there who is absolutely horrified. His father is a doctor, and he doesn't
see
know
this
anything
sort of
about
stuff,
this kind of roughhouse play.
In a fireman's house.
Yeah. So they come up, the other two come up, Connor and Pat come upstairs, and she hears them talking, and they're looking, and should we tell her? And no, let's go try and pull them out. And they go back down, and they can't budge this thing. And now John is getting, I can't breathe. So they finally come up and say, Mom, John's stuck in the couch. So they go back downstairs, and the three of them try, and they can't budge this thing. So she goes upstairs, calls 911, and says, my baby is stuck in the couch.
Oh, God.
Child is always your baby. So the Nassau County Police Department, the Nassau County Police Ambulance,
Oh my
the North
God.
Merrick Fire Department Ambulance, and the Belmore Merrick Volunteer Ambulance Squad all show up because she said,
Her baby.
this is Chief Norman's house. So they all show up. Now the cops are there, and they try, and they can't get it open either. And they hear him, So one cop says, listen, lady, we're gonna have to break the couch. Do you want to break the couch? She says, well, I don't want to, but I want my son out, So they end up smashing some boards through in the back of the couch, and they finally get it, and they pop out the couch, and here comes this 6 foot tall 8-year-old.
He's like that now, by the way. He's a big kid now.
The Yeti. He is a big guy.
And the cops are like, I thought you said it was a baby. Well, it was, So now
Baby
there was
Huey.
a TV show. There was a TV show on like Rescue 911 or one of those, live action episodes. So they go, everybody leaves. I come home. The next day I get a call from the police ambulance driver. He wants permission to come and recreate the show with the TV show, to film the TV show, because there's all these plaques and stuff and pictures all around the living room there, the cellar. Oh, this would be a great background. Oh yeah, here's a rescue expert.
Yeah.
His son
Kid
trapped in the
couch.
couch. I said, no, we're not doing that. Sorry.
Yeah, good move. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
God.
it's good stuff.
Pete, we
John's a
got
good
more-
man.
I drove him a few times. We tried to get him to cut the 288, didn't we? Trying to get him to take
He
that
was very
spot.
close. I think he was taking
Yeah.
my spot. And then
Yeah, he worked in
They moved him
288 for a while. He
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, good man. All right, so Pete, we got one more. Chief gets promoted to Deputy Assistant Chief of Special Operations Citywide Command Chief. Photo 2005263.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that guy.
Well, you should see the other picture that went with that. That is the West Side Highway collapse. So everybody is there. A huge section, maybe 300-foot long section of an embankment on the West Side Highway up in like the 160s just fell and buried the entire highway. And the mayor is there, the police commissioner, fire commissioner. I have another picture. I should have sent you that one. But I am briefing all these people.
Jeez.
And they're all in a circle around me. Deputy mayors, the fire commissioner, OEM, buildings commissioner, everybody's there. And everybody's focused on the one fire guy. So I use that to explain how stuff rolls downhill. You know? When something goes wrong, who's at the bottom of the pile? That's who gets the blame, you know. But it worked out. Nobody was nobody was actually buried. Split second timing. Last car cleared the other side.
Wow.
First car coming the other direction stopped just short of it. But
I think I remember that actually.
Do you?
What's that next picture down, Petey? That's the one you really have to.
Well,
I'm sure the chief will remember this one.
Well, Chief, you've had an illustrious career. So many years of service.
Yeah.
And Rescue 2, you'd say you'd want to wear that trade helmets back to that, but I think you'd really want to trade helmets back to this day when you were with our tank from the chat here, Tankamus Prime.
Looks like he got bit by a tick or something. I don't know.
Bit by a tick. That's my boy right there. There he is.
We had to, Tank text me this, of course, and I'm like, of course we'll run it. But if I would trade my helmet to anything, I would trade mine for this day. So
show those other couple.
Lucky you, Chief.
Last pictures we got there.
All right, yeah, last couple ones here.
Oh, there he is, hanging with God.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Downey, Rosalie, my wife Jean.
Is that no duels on the table? Who the hell's drinking old duels?
Me.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Look at that.
I used to be a responsible person,
Yeah, back in the day.
Responsibilities.
I'm finding that hard to believe, but I actually have one more picture from Joe Sperber that we didn't show.
Scoop.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And thank you to Joe as well for putting these pictures.
You do know his nickname is Scoop, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Scoop.
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 Yeah, I feel like he has to have like one of those fedoras with the press thing in it,
Yeah.
Press, some press, eh? Very nice.
Mike Montesi. Mike's gone. 9/11 guy.
Oh,
Ash again.
Montesi. Yeah.
Lloyd.
Oh my God,
Great.
boys.
That's a great pick, man. Great.
And that's everything.
All right. I think that's it, except for one thing, Pete. Oh, you got something, Ruff?
No, I'm just saying. What a career.
Yeah, no. I got.
What a great show! I knew this was going to be a great show. I told you.
It is there is one last important component of our show.
What is that, Pete?
Oh, it's time for the old school tip of the day. Chief, it's all yours.
It's actually a multi-part. It's my 3 rules of survival on the fire ground. First one is never put yourself in a position where you're dependent on somebody else to come and get you, somebody else to bail you out. Don't ever do that. The second one is always know, and I mean know, where your escape route is. And the third one is always know where your second escape route is in case the first one gets blocked.
All right.
I love it. That was one of my biggest things, Chief, was talking about that, telling the guys all the time, make sure that you have a way out every time, no matter, especially floor above, obviously. But
yeah, know where you're, the way you came in ain't always going to be the way you're going to end up going out. So know which way you're moving. Where's that fire escape?
That's a
Where are your
perfect
windows?
Perfect example of that. As I used to say to guys, you pass a window, and now you go 2, 3, 4 feet, and you bump into your guy, and now you guys are staring at each other, and all of a sudden the room lights up, and you start to go back to your window, and the guy says, "Come this way. I got a window right here." I used to say, you know what you tell him? "I'll see you outside, bro." Because again,
I know where mine is. Absolutely.
I know 100%. I could trust him 99% if he's my guy, but I know 100%.
Do you remember you caught me on that drill one time, Bruffy, with Timmy Garrity? Do you remember you did the same exact drill? I passed the window, and I swear to God, I'm like, holy shit, I don't know if he remembers this. You ran a drill, we were all blacked out. I passed the window, and Timmy said, "I got a window back here." And you said to me, "Don't ever trust anybody else." You passed the window, and I was like, "Oh shit."
Well, you could trust if you don't have a window, and he says, "I got a window here," then you have no choice. But
no, I already passed my window. I could have went back. I knew where my window was. Yeah,
like the chief said, 100%. You know where your way out is all the time.
Yep, awesome.
Yeah.
Woo! Really great show, boys.
Chief,
and we powered through 2.5-hour treat for everyone since we're not on Thursday. Oh boy.
Good stuff.
Is he stuck in a couch?
Do you have?
It's gonna be
Dude, let's just do a quick. Make sure we got the book.
Yes.
The info, Petey. We'll throw the book out there.
Yes. So the book is John Norman's Working with Giants, and we're not going to hit the horn on that. And you guys can all find that book on Amazon or on Fire Engineering. What is that book and
Books and videos.
And videos. Yep. So make sure to go on over to Amazon and support the chief. I'm sure it's an amazing read, as Kevin has mentioned. That's Working with Giants.
I told you I was laughing. My mother-in-law said to me, "What are you laughing at?" I was laughing out loud reading on the couch. I'm like, dude, it's just there's so many funny lines in it. It's great. And if you like fire stories and you like old-time firefighting stuff, this is it. You got to get it, man. Easy read. It's great.
Excellent.
Yeah, I looked at the first couple chapters there. It's easy reading.
Chief, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everything you've done for the fire service and for the FDNY. And thank you for making me feel like my career was a little nothing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I was going to say, you know what? We know the name. You know the name all these years, right? But you don't know the stories, and you don't know,
No, you don't. I told you my only interaction. I have another interaction with the chief. He is the guy. No matter where I'm going in the world, I would be flying to the Philippines and I would see Chief Norman in the airport. I'm like, holy shit, that was Chief Norman. I'd be flying anywhere. And he's the guy that I would see every time I'm in an airport. There's Chief Norman.
No shit. He's traveling, man. He's busy
I
guy.
spent a few miles in the air.
I would say so because I see you every single time in the airport. Well, thank you for coming on, Chief. Great.
Hang with us, Chief. And
Ruffy, you have any?
I don't have anything tonight. No.
I have one line of duty death. Unfortunately, it's Scott Achtel, Achtel, Engine 44 in Chicago. Line of duty, and I know your buddy wasn't a line of duty, but I'm going to give him 5 bells anyway because he was a hard charger. So we're going to give a line of duty 5 bells to those brothers. Rest in peace, brothers. All right, Petey, do your thing, buddy.
Okay, guys. Well, if you're watching, you should also be listening to our audio version of the show. That's on iTunes Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever fine audio podcasts are found. It's a great thing for the gym or for a long ride or for ignoring your wife with your headphones on, like I do. Also, guys, if you're here at youtube.com/Gettin Salty Experience, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Guys, I don't care what you do anymore. The fact that there's 30-something thousand people in the Gettin Salty fans page, and we've got 23,000 and change in here.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Get over there and just subscribe, for Christ's sake. I don't know what else to say.
It's as free can be. It doesn't get more free. All you got to do is hit that button. And I'll tell you guys, I'll make a deal with you. You guys get us past 100,000 subscribers, and you won't have me having to shift days anymore and pushing poor Chief Norman around like a piece of like a piece of ham or something. You know what I mean? This poor guy was supposed to be on yesterday, and I want to make this my full-time job. So hit that button. That's all it takes. Okay.
We'll tell you, listen, if you hit that button, we'll get more pictures of Louis modeling back in the day.
That's right. That's right. 100%.
I'll get them.
We will find them.
We'll
find him on a Modell's billboard with a tennis racket.
Somewhere.
Sure.
Yes.
Somewhere.
100,000 subscribers. We'll get pictures of Pete Old's lady.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
You promise? Oh my God.
All right, go ahead.
Gary.
There she is now. Okay. Instagram, guys. If you're on there, at Salty Dog Inc. is where you'll find us. And that's where you get all like the last minute information. Also on our Getting Salty fans page that you will find all the last minute information from the show. It's really important. Like days like yesterday when we had to do a last minute switch. Again, apologies, Chief Norman. Guys, gettingsaltyapparel.com. That's where you find the coolest, freshest firefighter gear and apparel out there. You'll get what's that? The Partner Saw cigar cutter, or our t-shirts and hoodies and hats. Support us there. Guys, thank you to everyone in the super chat. I mean, very kind of y'all for hooking us up with the super chats. You guys are our number one sponsors and syndicators. I say that to everyone. Speaking of which, also, thank you to our newest sponsor, New Jersey Fire Equipment. We really appreciate your business and look forward to working with you some more. And guys, if you have to email Lou all your questions. He loves it, especially suggestions of volunteer firefighters that you think should be on the show at gettingsaltyexperience@gmail.com. And if you do have questions for our Q&A, shoot them there. And also, guys, koobspodcast@gmail.com is where you will email us for our Cocklofts and Cocktails show that we do in the evening, or
Cup of Joe and
Fuego in the morning. Sorry, guys, I'm losing it. But these are our news shows where we like to post the latest helmet cam footage, fire photos, rig photos, tables, photos of your hot old ladies. That's right, we do that too. So keep them coming, guys. We love doing those shows. We're due for one, but we have a busy couple weeks up ahead. We're heading down to Florida for our Getting Salty Beach Party, where Mr. Hank Mollet is going to take us out on his boat, and we'll interview old Hank about what it was like to work on steamers with horse-drawn engines and all that good stuff. You know, we're gonna
and be in bed by 5:30.
And be in bed by Frank Mollet. For good old Frank Mollet at the Chinese buffet down in Naples. So we will be down there rocking and rolling, man. I cannot wait.
Next week, this week, we have no show Thursday. Louis and I will be on the road heading to Monroeville, the old Pittsburgh Fire Show. So if anyone wants to come out and see us in Monroeville, we'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's all I got to say. Yep.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring you lots of that crazy fire footage. We're going to bring you crazy footage from Naples when we do the St. Patty's Day parade. Are we marching in that thing?
Oh, we are. Yep.
No, I told
not.
Oh, we ain't marching.
Not.
All right, we'll be on the sidelines making commentary about everybody's outfits.
I'm not bringing my Class A's. I didn't know that.
No Class A's.
Okay. You learn something every day.
I'm not marching, I guess, either, and that would probably be appropriate since I have no business.
We'll be drinking
anywhere.
That's for sure. We'll be drinking.
We'll be drinking on the sidelines, and we're gonna.
All right, wrap it up.
Wait. I just want to tease something. There is a new friend that we have that will be hosting the show. I'm just calling him a friend, right, Coops? That'll be there with us.
You talking to me?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Our new friend.
Lou, do you know what the hell he's talking about?
Oh my God!
All right, we'll talk about it later. All right, good. Wrap it up.
All right.
Can I give a shout out?
Yes, Chief.
You give 100 shout outs, Chief.
Well, I got a couple of them.
Okay.
First one, I got to thank my family, my wife, my kids, the grandkids, and all that. But I got to thank the guys that took me under their wings and taught me how to be a better firefighter. And there's so many of them, I can't name them all, but I got to say thanks to all of them. And especially the guys in SOC after 9/11 who made me look like, I knew what I was doing. So thank you all for all of that.
Amen.
Then there's a real special one. that's all the patriots from Ukraine who are out there fighting the communist invaders and putting their lives on the line for their freedom, which
Yeah.
is special. So I salute them.
Pretty inspiring, right,
Yeah.
Chief?
Yeah. I say we get them to the firehouse kitchen table. We could solve every problem there, bro. We get them all to the firehouse kitchen table. We'll square this whole thing away, right, Pete?
Well, I'll tell you what. Apparently, the Ukrainian firefighters are solving a lot of problems out there, and they're wearing full-on tactical kit while they do it too. I'm talking like full bulletproof vests. So those brothers and sisters are real, are very real, and Godspeed.
Let's pray. That's what we do.
Man.
All right, Petey. All right, guys. We'll see you Monday, unless we see you live down in Pittsburgh.
A week from
Until
today.
then, stay low and go.
All right, Chief. Great job tonight. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you at the big one, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Stay on, Chief.